Hey, what's up, everybody? Mogi Monster here, and welcome to Why the Fascination, or WTF as I like to call it. Hope everybody's having a good night. I know it's a late one. These Thursdays are kicking my ass, too. um, yeah, shit, bunch of people in chat already. This is awesome. You guys are great. If anybody saw the description, I said I'm going to need a favor tonight. And I will get to that in a minute. I just want to see who's here. I'm just scrolling up. I'm going to start from the top, work my way down. What's up, Stevie? Good to see you. Mike, what's happening? Hey, Rex. What else? Hey, Emma. Welcome. Greg, Raging Cajun. It's a new name. Welcome, dude. Who else? Daniel Lundy. Hey, Sandra. Sandra Piper. Bigfoot and on. What's happening, man? So you went out hiking with Tim again, huh? Right on. Hey, Jen. Mr. Lee, what's happening, dude? Oh, yeah, excuse me. My back is jacked up. I don't know what I did to it. I was just leaning over fixing. I was working on the pool pump. I was just going to take the filter out. And I was just leaning over a little bit and just got this sharp pain. And that was 2 days ago, or yesterday. So now my lower back is jacked. Hey, Sharon. I almost said Shannon. Duh. Sharon. Who else is here? MPW, what's up? So yeah, Danny Stan, what's going on? Yeah, and then yesterday I was cutting the grass. I took care of the grass, and I was by the mailbox, and apparently there's a wasp nest in the mailbox, and I got tagged on my middle finger, and I'm not reacting well to it. That was over probably 30, I don't know, between 30 and 35 hours ago, and my hand is like all ballooned up. This is all swollen. My knuckle. I mean, see, you can see my knuckles. Yeah, you can't see my knuckles here. It's how swollen it is. Scotty, what's happening? Scotty FJC. Yancey Scott, how are you? That is probably why your back hurt. Murray says, sucks getting old. Twinges into hinges. Yeah, it's plus I have I don't know what caused it, why it's bothering me. I do have scoliosis. I've had it all my life. You'll notice if I move my hair, you'd notice that one shoulder's lower than the other. So you'll see me occasionally, adjust and level off, and I think that's why I keep the light low. So that might, have something to do with it. Trinity Paracryptid, what's up, Tex? Good to see you. So Tex, you're going. Hey Tex, why don't you hop on tonight? I'll put the link in chat here in a minute. I know you guys are doing your outing. That's got to be exciting. And is it my understanding that it's kind of grown a little bit than just CD and Mark popping down there? Hey, Cans. I saw a new name. Where did it go? Richie Evans, what's up? Larry Meitzer. Lisa Lou, what's up? Hey, Iron. Probably. It's like, so is the swelling, because like Stevie had swelling recently, and I was like, oh yeah, that sucks. But what sucks is, the friggin' it itches because the skin is stretching. I know it's gross, but um, yeah, I feel like not fun. Um, Livewire, what's going on, man? What do we got? 52 already watching. That's awesome. Pyromedic, good to see you. Judy Wheeler, Ida, I think I said hi. JCL, what's up, man? JCL, you're supposed to say, what's a happening, hot stuff? What was that? 16 candles? Hey, Nikki, what's going on? How's everything going? So, yeah, I don't have a lot to say. Hope you guys caught um, Mark's show recently, just before earlier. Sawdust Beast. He had a good guest on. There were some really good stories. What was his name? Angelo. I don't recall his last name. What am I doing? But yeah, that was a good show. I wish I could have stayed till the end. All right, I just put the link in chat. You guys know how it works. Anybody? I'm gonna regret that. That's how we roll here. Wild man, what's happening? Click on the link, follow the instructions. Just before you come on, make sure that your YouTube is off. You just have the StreamYard open and nothing running in the background, because you'll get a shitty echo. Hey, Flat Rock. So you've been getting some airtime over with Sean G, man. That's cool. You send him some stuff and he plays it. You're getting some weird sounds out there, man. Crow Creek, what's happening? How's it going, Tony? Good to see you. Hope you and the missus are doing good. Wit, what is up? Hey, Pam, Sissy. Oh, damn, there's a lot of people here. This is like, at least it's easier to say hi to everybody than try to type it out like we all do, and it's like I wait to jump in the chat. Like, I'm like, oh man, am I ready for this? Because as soon as you say what's up, boom, you gotta, like, I can't just say hi. I say what's up everyone, but then I have to say hi individually to anyone that says hi to me. So it's like, I'm scrolling back, and if I'm doing it on my phone, it's a pain in the ass, but it's fun. Who else is here? So going back to Tex, yeah, he CD had back in March. No, yeah, March, when we did the raffle on the show, and CD had won the outing with Tex to go down to Brown Springs, CD Squatcher, and I guess she hooked up with Mark Newble, and they're gonna go down together or meet down there or whatever they're doing. So that's this weekend. I think that's awesome. I'm glad we could make that happen. And Tex, thank you for that. I think that'll be a really good time. Just be careful down there. You know the area, Tex. It's from what I hear, it's a little crazy. Hey, Batmom. Right? All the cool people are here. Who else is here? I know. I keep scrolling, and then I hit that down button to see if I'm missing anything, and then I got to scroll back. Yeah, what Mike said. While y'all here, go ahead and hit that like button. So I don't see him here tonight yet. Hey, Leslie, what's up? Y'all know Leslie from Cryptids Canada. If you haven't checked out her channel, please do. Amazing narrator. One of my favorites. So it's good to see it. Joe Parker. Whatever. All right, man. We got text coming on. Mark Dodman, good day. Oh, hey, text.
Hey guys, how's it going, man?
All right, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good, brother. Doing good. Can't do video. I'm at work.
Oh.
Just caught me on my lunch hour.
Oh, right on. So you got that thing going on this weekend, huh?
Yeah, this month, next month. Yeah. We got next month is October.
I thought it was like next week or something. That's what I thought. It was early in the month. I think CD had said something about that.
We got the month with the outing happening in October, and we've got Jeffers happening in October. So it's the whole most of the month's gonna be taken up foot stuff for sure. You know.
Sure. We're getting a weird echo. I don't know what that is. You're echoing. It's like everything you say, it's like it's repeating itself. Like if you continuously talk, it's fine. But as soon as you stop, it like echoes. It's weird.
Weird.
So you have two things going on this month? That's cool. Both at Brown Springs? I didn't do that. Sorry about that, Tex. Yeah, that was, I don't know if you guys heard it. Yeah, Bigfoot Anon says weird da. It was, yeah, that was a weird echo. Try again. Let's try again.
Any better?
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, it helps when you shut down YouTube.
Hey. You know that, dude.
I didn't know it would do it on my phone because I thought YouTube automatically shut off but evidently not. So
yeah. All right on. Good.
But yeah, we got the thing going in Brown Springs, which is we're going to be out there for a week, and then we've got the Bigfoot conference in Jefferson, Texas. So that's gonna be fun. It's gonna be the third year we've been out there. So of course Jason's been out there a lot more than I have, but this is my third year out there. So
oh, very cool. And that's in where? Jefferson.
And next spring we'll I don't know, brother.
That's weird.
Could be just a connect, I guess.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Where in Texas is Jefferson?
It's East Texas, down around Marshall, and View, and not Caddo, but Caddo. So.
Yeah, Tex, we got that echo again. Danny Stanton wants to know: does he work in a bunker?
Yeah, I'm actually a government agent. Doesn't Bigfoot and
Tex is actually that tough guy, man in black that you always hear about with the other guy with the suit, and that's actually Tex.
The beard is take it off and on whenever I need it. That's part of my disguise.
Hey man, I wanted to say excellent job on that narration you did recently.
Oh, thank you, man. I'm glad you.
I was like, damn, that was really cool. Who was the
Yeah.
gentleman? Whose story was that?
Well, it was inspired by my man encounter, and also the song "Small Town" by Small Town Titans, fictional story. But it's inspired by true events, which is my dog man encounters and just stuff that happened throughout my life. And that's the day that I really recommend some people go out there and listen to that song.
Right on.
Because once you hear the song, once you hear the first verse of the song, you go, "Oh yeah." In fact, we get in touch with Town Titans, and look, your song, inspired the short story and everything. So the yeah, we try our hand at writing some, and I guess it will. So, there's more to come.
Tex, maybe we should try this, like logging on and off again real quick, because it's the echo is really bad again.
Okay.
Because I do want to hear more. I want to get the name of I didn't hear the name of the band. Something Small Town Titans or something to that effect. And the song. And excuse me, it's rude of me to just like cough, but the cough came before I could hit the mute. Oh yeah, sorry, dude. Can't you well, why is it when you guys copy it, it doesn't work for people, but when I post it, it works? Somebody mentioned that. I was just curious. Like, I don't understand why that would be different. There you go. And here's Tex again. Big 3.
How's this?
Sounds different.
Any better?
You sound a little different. There's something still wrong. I'm hearing myself. Sort of.
Okay, let me try this. Gremlins.
Yeah, those gremlins are being vicious.
Okay, how are we now?
Perfect.
Okay. Now I don't know why this made a difference. Good.
It just it did it again. I don't know. It's weird.
It's got to be something with the connection, brother. It's because I'm using my phone, so that's probably what it is.
Probably. Well, hey, Nikki.
Hi, everybody.
How's it
How's
going?
everybody doing? I'm doing good.
Right on.
Busy, staying busy.
Yeah, how's the new channel going?
Oh man, I have gotten so much support, and people are loving the way I'm approaching the subject and putting out the content. It's
doing your thing.
yeah, I'm just doing my thing, and everything's fallen right into place, and I'm overwhelmed by all the people who have shown me support. I mean, I get messages every day, all day, and they like it. A lot of people thought it was going to be a bashing type of thing, and that's not what I was about and what I was going to do. And so it's really worked out. I've had a couple of guests on, and I have a panel, and oh my gosh, the next 2 shows are going to be.
So what do you mean you have a panel? What exactly is a panel?
I have 2 to 3 people on to discuss the hoax, what they think about it. Do they agree with
so you're
it?
just I get it.
Yeah,
but
we discuss.
It's different people.
Yeah, I'll have different
show.
people who
Okay,
come on.
yeah.
Thomas Steenberg, he has come on several times, and one of my main panel members is JC. Jennifer Chase. She is a biologist out of Colorado,
Oh, right on.
and she's a sharp. She's as sharp as a tack, man. Her questions are just awesome, and we're really lucky to have her in the
Awesome.
community. So she's come on. Brent, the tall ones, has been on. Um, Sean from Something to Sasquatch About. He's been on
Yeah,
several
I
times.
don't know a lot of these people. Like I can't
Yeah,
follow everybody, and
yeah.
it's
Oh
sad. I
yeah,
like to
yeah.
check it.
Definitely.
There's so many things I like to check out, but I'm like, the dog with the squirrel. It's like squirrel.
Oh,
I'll go on
there's
YouTube
so
and
many
something
good
else will
ones
catch my
now.
attention. Huh?
There's just so many good channels out right now.
Yeah.
It's hard. I going from one to the other. We all are because we're all following each other. you know, I'm like saying hi to the same people all over the place, but it's
Like
great.
one big conga line.
Yeah, it is. So that's okay. That's fine. But
And I encourage that, like especially if someone has a story to tell.
mhm.
Stories were meant to be told, so tell it here, tell it there, tell it wherever, tell it to whoever will listen.
Oh, definitely. And sometimes it's a way of healing. When
And
they've
it
had a
helps
traumatic,
other people.
uh, yeah, kind of experiences. So more power to them. It's great. I think it's a good avenue to get their stories out. But
Definitely. Just reading
definitely.
comments.
Oh yeah. No, I know. Um, it's hard when you're running the show. Well, for my show, I have to stay very on track, in the first half. So I can't just sit and watch the chat. And I want to do that so bad.
I know, but I see this is the benefit that I had because
Yes.
I was a mod way before I was a host. So I already had the mod skills, so I can, I
Yeah.
can follow chat and run a show. It's
Man, but I'm
it's
trying
weird.
to pull up pictures and this and that. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm not ignoring you guys.
Yeah,
Let me get through this and then
I
we'll
don't
bring.
normally do pictures, and like
Yeah.
I don't know, a week ago I started to show clips from an outing I went on, and that lasted 30 seconds before someone popped on, and I had to turn it off and never went back
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah, I'm learning as I'm going, and oh god, I have to click that off and this on and then back over here, and but it's coming along. And
And it's fun,
oh yeah,
it's
yeah, it's getting fun. My first one, I was so nervous. I never thought I would get that nervous on my first show. My voice was quivering, and I'm like, what is this? I've been on a lot of podcasts,
but
but for
yeah,
my
but
own, it
it's
was
yours, so
whew,
it's there is that pressure.
yeah, it was. And
I mean,
then
I don't know about
now
text, but I still get a twinge. Like before every show, I get that little
I have to
anxiety.
take that deep breath.
Yeah, I
Okay.
got this.
Yeah, I still get it when I do it. It's weird. I can be moved, but when it gets time to start the show, my mood's and because I just acting with the guest and the piece and so.
Text, that echo is terrible.
All right, I'm gonna bet.
I don't know what to tell you, brother. I don't know why.
Alex, man, I'm sorry.
No, it's all right, brother. It's all right. But I'll try to. Hopefully, I'll hook up with you. Before you head out with for that next outing.
Yeah, that's your brother.
Right on.
We'll try to get together before I leave out.
Very good.
All right, man.
Talk to you soon.
All right.
Good night. That's unfortunate. Yeah, I love
No.
talking to Tex. And I know he's at work, so he was on his lunch hour.
Yeah. Hey, Brent.
That's funny. Strip club pole dancing Tex. Love you. Oh man, he sent me a picture one time. I just was like, oh geez, it's I don't. It was like one of those Christmas pictures, like where Santa's laying naked in the
Oh,
fucking grass
oh gosh.
on his stomach. And I was just like, ugh.
That's funny.
Oh,
That is funny.
I was like, damn, I hope that's not your Christmas card.
But anyway, I appreciate you letting me come on and talk about my show a little bit.
Absolutely.
It's been a while. I haven't been on since before, and this is coming on my fourth episode already this Sunday.
Right on. Goes quick.
So yeah, it has. I mean, the first episode we did Mark Anders and Silver Star Sasquatch.
Patrick.
And hi, Patrick.
How's it going?
I haven't seen you in so long on a podcast anyway.
I've been a burnout.
Burnout, no.
Yeah.
Then we did the Temagami Island Bigfoot, which is the Ben Mateen story. And then this last week I did the Minnesota Iceman and Peter Kane.
Mm-hmm.
And that was great. We had Will Jevning on for a little bit. And then Thomas Steenberg came on again. And this coming week,
I like Jevning. I like his channel.
yeah, he had some great things to say about it. He's written a book, the Minnesota Iceman. So when I was doing my research on it, I came across that and I had a connection to him. And so I, was able to hook up with him, which was perfect. But I want to announce live here before I even put out the promo of my show on this coming Sunday. My show this Sunday is going to be called Women of the Woods. And I will be having Kathy Strain, anthropologist out of Sonora, California. You see her on History Channel all the time. She does...
wait, what's her name?
Kathy Strain. Her and her husband, Bob, they also work with the North American Wood Ape Conservancy and a bunch of other stuff. But they're great. And
sounds familiar.
She's going to be on. I'm going to have Melissa Adair from Bigfoot Chicks and the Squatch Unlimited research group. I'm going to have Mantra Withers from what's her paranormal something.
Sounds like you got a hell of a lineup.
And also Monica Frank Rawlings is going to be on. So I've got a great group of gals. It's going to be an all-female chat on Sunday.
That's great.
Yeah.
It's a great idea.
I'm excited about that. Mm-hmm. I'm so excited to talk to Kathy. I've really looked up to her and her book, and it's going to be great. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, that's cool to meet someone that you look up to.
Right.
That is just like, it's like there's something satisfying to that. It's weird.
Yeah. And it's going to be just fun. We're going to be just talking about the community hoaxes, what they're doing right now. I'm not going to be doing a specific something, a specific hoax or anything. We're just going to let it flow and have a little girl powwow. So it'll be fun.
Awesome. So what's going on?
Oh.
I didn't do it. I was just going to ask us what's going on with you, Patrick? And gone.
It was like magic.
Watch how I clap my hands.
I know. It was right at the exact time.
Oops. I didn't do it.
You have more power than you think.
Take it back. Why does that sound like it's from a movie or something? Oh, no, that was a line in Dogma. Oh, won't go there.
I heard your 16 Candles reference earlier.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that movie so much.
Else. Oh, maybe I don't know. Did Patrick freeze up? I wasn't paying
He
attention.
must have froze up, I guess, and that's why he'll be back. He'll be back.
It's hard, he
This
doesn't.
can be the movie night. One-liners.
Right? No, I'll end up doing Rodney Dangerfield impersonations, and
I thought he was okay. He was a little crazy.
Oh, you might as well. Not everybody knows, so.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, it's my name on the chat, so I've had it for a while. Hairy Man Hoaxes and Hoodwinks on YouTube. Every Sunday, 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So come along and join the chat. We have a good time. Sometimes it's an hour and a half. Sometimes it's 2 hours. I don't try to push things, once the conversation is kind of down and out, then I put an end to it. And sometimes we just keep on talking. So,
Mr. Lee, thanks for posting that in chat.
Mr. Lee
posted the link to your chat, to your show.
Yeah. He's great. He's a big supporter. Thanks.
So who else have I missed? I think I missed Blue-Eyed Northern earlier. What's up? John Hall.
You guys are awesome. They're subscribing right now.
Oh, this is the other thing I wanted to ask you guys. I don't see Sean here tonight, unless I missed him. But if you guys haven't subscribed to Sean Graham, Chasing the Truth, and make sure it's his channel that you're subscribing to. I need like 50 people to subscribe to him so we can put him over 1,000. So if you guys are so inclined, I'd like to do that for him. I think he's doing a great job. And yeah, I'd like to see him hit that 1,000 mark. This is his own
close. Yeah, absolutely.
He's at
Sean Graham.
Sean Graham, Chasing the Truth, or Chasing the Truth with Sean Graham. But there's two channels. There's Dark Waters, and then there's his. So make sure it's his. I don't know that I have the. Where did I?
Mr. Lee will find it. Watch. He's always fast.
Haven't seen Big Rob in a while. Big Rob was always on top of that.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen him either. Okay.
I know his phone got messed up. He did text me not that long ago, or emailed me and said, "Hey man, my phone's screwed up or jacked up or whatever." But he'll be around eventually. Hey Meredith.
How that goes.
My phone. I don't even want to talk about phones.
I finally had to get a new phone, and now I have to learn all over again. My other one was just shut down at 30. If it hit 30%, it would just turn off.
This phone seems like the battery it runs down really quick.
Mm-hmm. But my husband said I did it to myself because I was always charging it before letting it run down.
I don't know where to find that right now. I can't find his. I'd have to. I know wait a minute. If I click off, I'm sorry, but I have to minimize this screen and pull up another one. It's weird because now everything I'm only looking at half the screen now, and it's like.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean.
If anybody popped on backstage, I wouldn't see it.
Oh, my back screen is all crazy. I don't have enough light on right now.
All right, let me move this over. I know where I can find it because this might get noisy for a second. I'm just going to go copy it off of my channel. Oh, look, I'm live. I don't want that one.
On my show, I have to have my tablet in front of me with the live show, because otherwise I feel like, is it coming on? Is it not coming on? Are they seeing what I want them to see?
Yeah, I used to have my phone playing but it just got to be a hassle. And like
Yeah.
I could do this, I could split screen it, but I need a full screen to run the show.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I get more
Yeah.
than 3 people on, or whatever, I need to see
You need it.
it.
Well, I'm learning all that.
So I don't even bother watching
Definitely.
YouTube. Like I rely on my mods to take care of that side, the YouTube side.
Oh yeah, and they're great.
Because I have no control. I mean, I think I can block from this side, if I had to.
Mm-hmm.
Let me
Well, because the
see.
first show I didn't do it, and I felt a little lost, and that was my first show. So the second show I put it up down here, and then I was like, okay, it's working. It's a
All right.
weird though seeing the delay. That's one thing.
Yeah, and it's not that.
Not that big, but
Hold on, I gotta click this on large and what am I doing? You think I know how to navigate my own?
that mom, I think it's because don't have a wrench that you can't post. You can't put the link. I think only people with wrenches can put links.
Close player. All right. I know I posted all of the shows recently. I just don't know which show it was where I put everybody who was on. I posted their shows, their links in the description, and I was just going to go copy it, but now, maybe it's this one. Let's see. Okay, let's turn that off. It's not that.
Thank you, Daniel Lundy.
Yeah, I'm sorry if I'm
subscribing.
missing chat. I can't even see it right now. I have YouTube, my channel pulled up just so I can find this.
Oh crap! Did I just get out? What did I just do?
You're still there.
See, I did it too. Oh, I see what I did.
Where the hell is it? Meanwhile, I'm going through all this. I can't see chat, and someone probably already posted it.
I'm looking. I don't see it yet. I see mine.
That's odd. I don't even know which video it was. Let's try this.
You can always add it onto the description later.
Well, I just want to. Oh, here we go.
But it would be cool to see it go to 1,000 now.
Yeah, we're gonna do that. Hold on.
Look, I'll do it from my tablet, so I don't mess up my thing there.
Okay, I think I copied it. I could be wrong. Let's minimize that, and let's see if I got it.
About true events, which is my bad.
Oops.
Here we go. It's in chat. That's the link to Sean Graham's Chasing the Truth. Like I said, please, if you haven't subscribed yet, let's put him over the top and get him to 1,000. I think he needed 51 the last time I looked. I haven't checked yet to see where he's at. Let me pull up.
It says 404 not found. Why is that? Is it because I'm on the show?
I don't know. What's up, Gypsy Road? How's it going, man? Sorry, we're not ignoring you. I'm just trying to multitask, guys. He needs 8 more? Seriously? That's awesome.
Oh, not dark. You said not dark waters, right?
Not dark waters. Yeah. I put the link in chat.
It didn't work for me.
I'll do it
Oh,
again.
okay. I found him. I was 957. Well, mine says 957. Somebody said that he needed 8 more.
Yeah, no, there's
Weird.
huh. Okay, this is it.
Probably my.
Yeah, I get 957. So let's go. Come on, guys. We can pull 43 subscribers out of our ass, can't we? Call a friend, share it, do something. Let's get him over 1,000. He doesn't know I'm doing this, but you know, why not?
Well, that'll be the best surprise ever.
That link isn't working.
Yeah, see, it didn't work for me either.
Let me see. Huh. Let me try again.
Zeros.
Gotta go through this again. Gotta go.
But it came up right away when I put in his name and Chasing the Truth. Well, both of them, those two came up.
Okay.
Like you said.
But no, which one was it? Damn it. I forgot which one it was again.
Hobbs, you need to go to Chasing the Truth, Sean Graham. Not Dark Waters, but the other one, Chasing the Truth.
I'll get this.
And if you're already out there looking, you can also subscribe to me, Harry Man Hoaxes and Hoodwinks.
Let's see.
Thanks, Hobbs.
Huh, he wasn't on that one. Why?
Thanks, cryptids.
Sorry, guys.
Oh, she posted a link. Stevie B posted a link.
Hopefully it works. Let's see. Let me know if that works, Stevie. Or anybody. Yeah, Judy, it is a great channel. He does a really good job, and I just I want to see his channel take off. You know, yeah, he's with Dark Waters, whatever, but I want to see his channel move up.
What is his platform?
Paranormal, just about anything. Kind of does it radio style in a way. Like he doesn't bring people; he'll bring people on. He does a call in.
Oh, okay.
You know, so people call in, open lines, unvetted.
Mhm.
You know, just call in, and you know, he likes to say, "Oh, you know, it's I don't know,
Raw.
unvetted."
Yeah.
Yeah, you know. So it's like,
Yeah.
sort of like what I do, you know.
Yeah.
But he doesn't bring people on screen, and he does a really good job. He's got a good voice.
You have to be a little bit like brave to do that because you never know who you're gonna get on.
Oh no, yeah, it's a
You gotta
Russian
be
roulette.
prepared. You know?
Yeah.
Because poor old Pat from Squatch Talk, he had somebody on there that was he was quick to delete him fast.
Hey, hey, Sean, what's up, man? If you haven't heard, I'm on a mission, and it's to get you over 1,000. All right. When I opened my mouth, you needed 51 more subscribers. So we're keeping an eye on where we're at, but let's get you over 1,000, dude. Let's get you at least to 1,000. So that's my plan. You deserve it, dude. I want to see your channel take off. You know, I know you got the Dark Waters thing going on, but your channel, I want to see that take, do its thing, because you deserve it. My pleasure. Buzzard's Roost, what's happening? 966 now. Wow.
Ooh. I'll leave it over there so I can look at it.
Getting there. Who else? So yeah, guys. Well, hell, now I gotta. What did I post last? All right, Stevie B took care of that, so I have to repost. I have to recopy this, and this way I can post here.
Then you should be.
All right, guys. The link to the show, our show, tonight's show, is in chat. Anybody wants to use it, feel free. Patrick, sorry that didn't work out. What's with things aren't working?
He never came back.
Text, that was a little bit of a bust. TFE, what's going on? And who else is here? I see Duke. What's up, man? Oh, my hand is driving me crazy. It itches.
Yeah, I swell up with bites like that.
I've never had a reaction like this to a bee sting.
Oh, really? Oh. I swell up with a mosquito bite. My arm, I've got a big old, you can probably see it.
Yeah. My hand is
they're so itchy.
The swelling stops right here. Hopefully it won't go past the wrist.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, yeah. Keep an eye on that. Yeah. Did you take some Benadryl or something?
No, I took the pain relief for my back, but I don't know if it was an NSAID, so it'll help with swelling. It was acetaminophen. It wasn't ibuprofen.
Mm-hmm.
So, oh, hold on. Who we got here? Brother Jurist, what's up, man?
I don't know.
Here we go again.
What? Why is that happening?
It's just not working tonight, guys. I'm looking at backstage, and his picture back there is frozen. So I think he's resetting. Let's see. But yeah, that's weird. I mean, you're coming in perfect. I guess I think it's just internet.
Because I'm always on, StreamYard, so my connection is, unless my internet goes out, then I blame it on the cat.
Shoots through the wire. Again.
Yeah.
Jen had 5 spider bites on her shin. They just keep itching. Yeah. I don't think I don't think I've been hit by a spider yet, but I know this was a wasp. But I get a lot of ant bites because I'm always in flip-flops. I cut the lawn in flip-flops.
Oh gosh.
I learned that I can't weed whack in flip-flops anymore. I won't. I hit my both feet 2 different times. You thought I would have learned the first time.
Ow.
With a weed whacker right across my toes.
Ouch.
That was terrible.
When we moved into this house, that was the number one thing we said. We didn't want any. We're going to do our landscaping so that we didn't have to cut no grass.
Right.
So the front's all full of rock, and the back we did it where it's
Well, that's the same thing when
It's fake
I
grass.
guarantee, I guarantee your dad's yard has gravel in it.
Yep. He just redid his, and he's got
Yeah,
a real nice. It looks, the fake artificial
guys,
grass.
guys, her dad
It's
lives in
beautiful.
Arizona,
Yeah,
and
like
I know the landscape there.
was like 3 streets away from where you were at.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
The last time I was there, I was like passing by, and I went, "Oh," because you said Fifth Street, right?
I was on South Fifth, yeah,
Yeah,
and Sixth Street is the one that goes like where the
yeah.
police department's on, and the library, and yeah.
And
Um,
he's all the way at the very end of Fur, all the way up near the mountain.
oh, okay. I'm just reading.
I know. I love to read the chats.
Well, I have
Yeah.
to.
Well, that's your thing. Mr. Lee keeps wanting me to talk about my show, but I kind of already did. It's just come check it out so you can see if you like it or not.
What's
I
up,
chose a
Joe?
time too that wasn't kind of like aligned with a lot of people that we follow, that everybody follows.
It's yeah,
Before
it's tricky how you gotta
I
get
didn't
into
want
the
to interrupt
lineup.
anybody else. I
I
didn't. I
know.
felt like I can't do that.
Well,
So,
that's why my schedule is the way it is. It's an hour later on Thursdays because when I started the channel, I followed Paranormal Portal at
oh
the time.
yes, I
Okay.
remember I was on there a couple times too. I remember
So
seeing you there.
I Tuesdays, they didn't go on. They used to be on Tuesdays, and then they stopped doing Mondays and Tuesdays. But then Thursdays, they were only on for an hour. Normally, it's a 2-hour show, and so I
Oh,
had to go on. And that's why I did it. I didn't want to step on anybody's
yeah.
toes. You know, and it's
And I
funny because a lot of the people that used to be that come around, they've been on Paranormal Portal before, and I go back now because I haven't been there
yeah.
in a long time, and I don't recognize anybody.
Oh wow.
Maybe three
Yeah.
people, or it's like, whoa.
Have changed. It's already changed over.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's why I put my time slot, because I didn't want to interfere with Squatch Detective with Steve Coles. But then he went and changed his a little bit earlier. So now I'm on for an hour and then he comes on. So I'm like, oh, probably losing some people maybe when they go follow him. But
Yeah,
I don't
it's
blame
it's
them.
a
I mean,
juggling act.
yeah, it is what it is. And that's okay. Um, Only in the very beginning did I was like, oh man, should I go even earlier? And I'm like, no, I'm just gonna stick with what I have and we'll work with it.
Lisa Ray, get goats. They eat your grass. Yeah.
They do that here. There's a
Oh
guy
no.
who
Yeah.
rents out his goats.
Oh, he rents them out. Oh yeah.
Uh-huh.
Got to
Yeah,
clear a field. Just send them out, and pick them up in a week.
it's crazy. Well, here you get warning, and then you get fined if your weeds are more than 12 inches.
Oh, through the
And
homeowners
yeah,
association.
well, no, just the city has
Oh,
a ordinance.
actually, no. That's the same here in here in Florida, in this town. And I thought it was a homeowners association, but I think
Hmm.
it's the town that it's an
Yeah.
ordinance.
But, they're so busy that they don't just go around and usually, find people and stuff. They're just, people have to complain. Like your neighbor would have to call and say, hey, their weeds are out of control. And then they
Yeah.
would come out, give you like 2 or 3 warnings. And then the third is the citation. Um, but
So
I'm in a
Leslie says
new,
I got some crazy info from TJ Neely that I'll be coming out with tomorrow. Awesome. Awesome. There it is. No, I thought I saw another question over. It's not a question. It's just funny. It's me. It's me. Ernest T. Oh. Now I have an ashtray here somewhere. I shouldn't be smoking in here. I gotta quit.
No, you shouldn't.
So where are we at with? Okay, Sean G is at 968 now. So close, guys. Was that 32 more? Where can I pull 32 out of my ass? I think I don't have any. I don't have multiple accounts I can like.
Yeah.
You know.
I don't either.
Yeah, we were doing a countdown last night on his show, and trying to get him there, and then I was like, all right, we'll get him there somehow. We still have. We got, well, shit, we have all night if we have to, but fuck it, I ain't leaving until it's done.
I'll be in bed here.
Yeah,
pretty soon.
enjoy. I'll be pulling one of Sean's 5-hour shows.
Oh my goodness. I was on a 3-hour show one time, and then we got put in, you put your guests in behind the scenes, and we were on another 2 hours talking after the show. Man, talk about, I was exhausted. My butt was exhausted from sitting in this chair.
Hey, Sheila. Good to see you. Hey, excellent job last night on Sean's show. Sheila, what'd she say? I just got here, subbed after sharing last night on Sean G's channel. Yeah. That was, you did a great job on his show last night. She came on, she did a call in, she had sent some one video and some like screenshots of something she saw across the street at her I guess it's she was on her front porch. It was like 2 a.m, and across the street there was a house, and there's a house next to that, but you see this shadow being, creature, whatever, like
go from one to the other.
It's sort of in the driveway. You see it. It's weird, and it changes shape. And I think I have it figured out, but I'm not sure, because I asked last night, what was the where was the light source coming from? Because like you have the one house and the lights are on the front of the house.
Mm-hmm.
Then the house next to it, the wall is lit up on that house. And I'm like, where is that light coming from? If that's coming from, say, behind the house,
Yeah.
it almost looked like to me that someone walked in front of a light and cast a shadow on the wall of that. Because
from behind, so you wouldn't.
Yeah, it's weird, but it looks like someone walks out and they have their hands on their hips because their shoulders are raised. Because all of a sudden it changes, like they just drop their arms and now they're straight, but it's a shadow that you're seeing. It's weird, but that's my theory. But yeah, Sheila, you did a great job last night, and keep up the good work. You're catching some cool shit. I don't know what, that was just my theory. I think, I'm still trying to debunk lights from the 168. and then I go up, I was on my roommate's property over the weekend, and it's kind of in the swamp. A lot of woods. It's near some wildlife management areas, and I started seeing, I was sitting out listening for whatever, just in the pitch black, and I saw lights in the trees.
Mm-hmm.
Like they came over the top of the trees, and there were 2 of them, and then they split up, and I was like, what the hell? I thought they were drones at first, or then I was like, fireflies? Like, no, they're not fireflies. But they split up, so I couldn't follow them both. And they were, they were in the trees, so they would go behind leaves. But at one point, this one came over towards my left and flashed 4 times. And that was the last time
Whoa.
I saw it. It kind of went out, I lost it. And what sucks is I was recording it on my phone. I was audio recording it.
Uh-huh.
And I was talking and I was explaining what was happening as I'm watching it. But my SD card didn't record it because I didn't set it up properly.
Oh.
Like, it'll record video and crap
Uh-huh.
like that, but it wouldn't do the audio recording, so I didn't even get that. I was like, damn it.
Oh, no.
But it was bizarre. It was
Yeah.
like, what the hell was that?
Well, when you just now talked about it, the way you looked up, was it that high up like that
It was
that you were
it
looking?
was right.
Wow.
I was looking, say, 100 feet to my right and then 60 feet up. So yeah, I was looking up.
Wow.
I was looking, over the trees that were
Uh-huh.
just, within 100 feet.
Dang.
And they weren't big. They were like the
Yeah.
size of maybe a racquetball, bigger than a golf ball. It was like, that's the
Yeah.
size. When I first saw them come in, I was like, well, what the hell was that? And then they split up, and I was like, oh,
Uh-huh.
are these, I thought drones. I'm like, no, because they came below the trees. Like, they'd have to go through the leaves.
Yeah.
And the
And
one
they
where
illuminated, they glowed, or they just were radiant, or
they didn't seem to put off a light. Like, they didn't seem to radiate. They had light, but they didn't put
yeah.
it off. Like, it didn't light up the trees. It didn't light up the
Yeah.
leaves as it went by.
That's
Um,
weird.
but what was kind of freaked me out was the next day, these trucks pull up, and I'm like, what the hell is this? And these 2 women and a guy get out, and they're talking, and I can't hear what they're saying, but they're going on that property. And I'm like, this is weird. Turns out I realized who they were. They were realtors, because that property's for sale. The 2 women were realtors, and that guy was looking at the property.
Uh-huh.
But it was weird because he asked the wrong question. He walked over to the river. He looked down at it. He goes, well, how low does this get? I'm like, dude, that's the wrong question. How high does it get? If you're going to build
Right.
on it, you better know if that floods or not,
Right.
I was like, why would you ask how low it got? Like, I guess, although if you wanted to do a kayak launch or something like that, right now it's a decent, level, the river, because the river runs right, it's riverfront property. It's this tiny little, it's not a big river, but it's squatchy. I hate that word,
Bigger
but
than a creek, or like maybe the Camp Verde,
the Verde River,
or similar. I've seen that one get really, really high sometimes.
yeah, no, it's similar in size, because if you get down towards Camp Verde, you know how some spots that river opens up,
Yeah.
but it's a really windy river. It goes
Oh.
through, it's all swamp and forest, and
Mhm.
and it goes from south to north. It travels
Oh.
north,
Oh, okay.
and it's only a 16-mile river.
I see.
But it's cool. It's very peaceful up there. My chair is squeaking. My God, I gotta move back, and I'm like,
Right,
hey?
right, right.
Is that my back? Let me post the link again. The link is in chat, guys. I'm afraid to say click on it because it just doesn't. Nothing seems to be working tonight. I see Lockbeard here.
The 168 didn't come out yet, did it?
Not yet.
Okay. I'm like, I didn't miss it. Did I miss it?
No. I thought I saw Lockbeard here. I saw somebody say his name. I don't know if he's here. Wild man, what's up? Who else? What do we have? We have 60 watching. No one's sitting over there. Yeah, so this property I was on, I just think it would be an awesome place to like it would make an awesome base camp for like outing. Like
Mm-hmm.
10 might be a lot for that property, but there's room for tents. There's a cabin. There's a little trailer. There's it's just a cool little area, and it's in the middle of the woods. Oh, Emma, that was the favor was to get Sean G. Yeah, in my description, I put I need a favor, guys. Tune in to find out what it is. I want to get Sean G up to 1,000 subscribers, or as close as possible. That's what the favor was.
Let me refresh and see what.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
968.
Is that what it's at?
That's what mine says.
Yeah. Still at 32 to go. Might not be tonight. Miss Dill, what's happening? Kicking ass and taking names. Good to see you. There's another Canadian. Who else is here? Huh. So no one wants to come hang out tonight, huh? Right on.
You guys want me to leave? Leave?
Oh, sure. Just leave me hanging.
People don't like to hang out with the hoaxer lady.
No, don't be silly.
I'll go.
Canadians put gravy on everything.
God, that's like the third time I've heard somebody talking about gravy and fries and poutine and whatever.
Yeah, I love
this
gravy
last
and fries.
couple of days, people are hungry.
I am. Damn, now I want that, but you have to put cheese on it too. Like the poutine, I use cheese curds.
Oh yeah,
awesome.
Oh, there's my sister.
Yeah, I put her name up on screen earlier.
You did? Oh, yeah. Sorry.
I said hi to
see you.
Country gravy is good too.
Yeah, I'm a gravy.
It always goes to food. It's like there she is. I bet this works. Hey, Stevie.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Perfectly.
Good. I got my new earbuds in.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh, nice.
Finally figured it out.
Awesome.
How you doing, Nikki?
Good. How are you doing?
Very good. Very good.
Might as well put it in the show. What's up, Jeff?
Hey, guys. How are you?
Hey, Jeff.
Hi.
So your link did work for me.
Oh, Stevie's link or the one I posted?
No, you were saying you were afraid to put it up because you didn't think it would work, and that seemed like
a challenge. No, it was just it
was like a challenge to me. I thought, well, I'm going to click on and see if I can make it work.
What's up, Sean?
Hey, well, thank you, Moyan. That's I was just wondering, hey, Miss T, why is everybody subscribing to me all at once? And then she jumped on your live stream, said, yeah, he's just promoting you. And I was like, you got to be shitting me. So, yeah, thank you, brother. Thank you for everybody that has joined.
Yeah, you didn't get there last night, and I was like, fuck it, we'll get him there.
Yeah, well,
Stacey Perez, how are you? Good to see you.
Man, Sean, you have the most awesome voice I have ever heard.
It's a radio voice.
It's a
Oh my
well,
goodness.
it's the microphone. The microphone does it all. It's all the
The
filters
microphone.
between me and you.
Oh, if you get really close to these mics.
Oh yeah, forget it.
I could, yeah. You get really close to these mics, and then you can toss this stuff in there and all that other junk. So.
You have 3 pop filters at all different angles in front of them, and
No, I've got an old Shure 58. That's all I've got, and that's all.
Right on.
Well, all of a
I have some
sudden,
Yeti.
I can become Delilah.
So what's going on, Stevie?
Oops. she lost us.
She just,
Not much.
I could tell something.
Yeah.
She wasn't.
She'll be back.
seems like StreamYard is a inconvenient pain every once in a while.
I don't know if it's
I think it's
StreamYard or if
YouTube.
it's YouTube. I think it's YouTube too.
Could
Because
be.
I've never had a glitch with StreamYard whatsoever.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
think
it could be. I think YouTube
I
is
know you
changing
use
their policies
the
on the
OBS
fly.
system. What's
And
that?
what?
I think YouTube is changing their policies on the fly. You can't talk about anything.
I
else to
know
do
there's
with-
a lot of things you can't talk about, and they're taking down channels that have, but they're doing political stuff. They're doing
You
know,
can't have channels that promote hunting or fishing or anything like that now, from what I
What?
understand.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, look it up. Look it up. I just saw that on somebody promoted that or did a story on that 2 days ago. A popular YouTuber said, "Hey, you can't, live streams that are or streamers that do anything with hunting and fishing are being took down, or their monetization is going away."
for fishing.
Yeah,
The fuck kind of shit is that?
don't ask me. That's self-preservation stuff, I guess. Being able to fend for yourself. I guess if you're out there growing corn in your backyard, or
So what are you? You're a
sunflower seeds.
prepper?
Yeah, if you're a prepper.
What?
I don't know. I don't know. You know,
Wow.
don't take my word for it, but I did
No,
see that. Obviously, don't take anything that I say to heart.
Sure, but yeah, that's I could see it happening. I heard other stuff you couldn't talk about and stuff. I get that.
I follow a few different hunting channels that are still active right now on YouTube, but that's not to say they haven't been demonetized.
True.
Right.
I've been following Tau Mouse. They do a thing where they do high-speed filming of 12-gauge shotguns and ammunition and stuff like that. Fantastic stuff. It's fascinating to me.
Oh,
But
absolutely
they went up and down in monetization like crazy, and now they rely on donations or tips or whatever you want to call. But it's just like, wow, I like this channel.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those cameras are awesome. I want a high-speed camera. I
don't think I'm going to have the funds to be able to pay for a high-speed camera like that.
No, you're looking,
Gotta
$5,000, $6,000.
Gotta find friends that have them.
Yeah. No, because when I was a kid, I always wanted to film surfers.
Oh, that'd be cool.
I was always in the water, so that's what I wanted to do, is I wanted to be in the water with the surfers and film them with high-speed cameras.
Now you can just strap a GoPro to your head or your chest and go surfing. I've seen them film like that.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's just something I wanted to do when I was a kid.
I've been researching Bigfoot all afternoon. Vault nightmares of myself have been on and off the phone all freaking day long talking about Bigfoot.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I'm tired of Bigfoot already. I don't want to talk about it.
I've been researching it since 5 o'clock this morning.
Oh my God. Killing Bigfoot was one of the topics that we covered today. And it was okay. All right. Do I think there's Bigfoot out there? Absolutely. Cannot deny it from my perspective. I've seen one. Nope. But I have been told stories by people that I love and known for my entire life. And they come up to me and say, "Sean, you won't believe what I saw over in Grayson County, Virginia." And I was like, "What? Bigfoot? Really? What were you doing?" I was deer hunting in a tree stand. And then the next thing I know, I was waiting for this buck to cross a hill. in front of two does were in front of it. And all of a sudden, this dude bigger than any linebacker I've ever seen comes running out of the far tree line after these deer. And this thing caught this, scared deer, this scared buck, and killed it. And then just threw it across its shoulder and walked out to exit stage right. You're like, I'm not, did I do any deer hunting in my life? No, I did some squirrel hunting and some other stuff. My brother was big into deer hunting. I asked him about it, and he said, yeah, he told me that story too, and it was his best friend. I said, what would it take for you to get a deer that size out? He said, well, I'd have to field dress the thing and have an ATV to, either drag it out or spend half a day dragging it out to where I could get it in the back of my truck. And I was like, you couldn't throw it over your shoulders? Said, nope. And this dude, my brother, when I had two legs, I was like 6'2", 6'3". He's 6'5", and diesel mechanic. So he was built like a brick shit house.
That's a big boy.
That's a big. He was a big boy when he was healthy before he passed away from cancer. He was stout as anybody you want to go against. And I was like, you couldn't have carried something like that. Nope. All right. So, but he didn't believe in Bigfoot, even though his best friend said, yeah, I seen the thing.
Yeah. But didn't he believe in the paranormal though?
My brother, he didn't like to talk about paranormal. That was the weird thing.
Okay.
I can remember being in his truck. He just picked me up from the hospital after being in 3 months, and he took me to a new barbecue spot here close by. And we grabbed lunch or whatever. And I was just, kind of consuming what the experiences I had experienced. I was been in a coma for 10 days in a near death. And I said, brother, I had a near death experience. He said, well, I don't want to hear about that. All I need to know, do you believe in Jesus Christ? I said, absolutely, more than anything in my life right now. He said, that's all I need to know. And that was about as close to the paranormal I heard him talk about anything. Even with my sister, she's big into paranormal, and we're very sensitive to this stuff. And seen some stuff at his house. Of all things, my brother, I think he may have commented that he heard some stuff in his house once or something like that, but that's about as close as he ever got to talk about the paranormal.
How's things going with you, Jeff? How's your research going?
Me and Doug have been working for the last few days, well, I should say about the last week, on kind of a breakthrough that we had with a discovery of hair samples and how they react in UV light. And we've had a theory for a while that, Bigfoot could see in a UV vision spectrum. But we've got all kinds of hairs that we've been collecting for Legend Meets Science 2. Sure. And we've got a team of DNA specialists from 3 different labs, because we're going to actually have a main lab, but then there's going to be a control lab and a control lab that are all going to be testing the same sample, so that when this baseline's developed, they can't, nobody can negate, was it the right people? Was it the right consensus? But aside from collecting the samples, we were messing around about a week ago and had a UV light, a really bright black light, torchlight, shining on what we are 99% sure there's Bigfoot hair because of the way we've collected it. And to the naked eye, I mean, it doesn't really, it has a light green hue, just the reflection off the surface of the follicle from the light. It's not giving you any fluorescent reaction. But our eyes have seeing in UV light spectrum is something that humans have evolved away from. When people think about, well, if Bigfoot can do that, and we know that caribou can do it, and we think that bears can do it, that's something that they do because they need to bring nocturnal and hunting and all the things that they would be able to see with it. They don't revolve away from it, but humans have kind of evolved away from it. So it's not some thing that they've adapted to by developing it. It's just they never evolved away from it like we did, so to speak. But we realized that when we took a camera and filmed the light follicles, the light reaction on the follicles, that the follicles glow fluorescent pink. But with your naked eye, they don't.
But on camera, it does.
And we started doing it with 4K cameras. He has a high-speed camera. We were doing it with all these 6 different cameras. And they all glow fluorescent pink where there's an absence of medulla in the shaft. You know, a Bigfoot hair typically will be kind of blotchy in that core. It's not completely hollow like a polar bear follicle. You know, there'll be little spots where it looks like there's medulla, and then it'll be translucent again for a while. And wherever there's none, it glows pink. I mean, bright pink, fluorescent pink. Now, the idea here is that if a Bigfoot can see in a UV light spectrum at night, if you think about if you were going to use night vision on a camera and you had it on white heat, black heat, you know, just that black and white view of it. Imagine it monochromatically where it's black and white, but when they see each other from 2 miles away, they appear bright pink.
That's interesting. Do the Bigfoot have an undercoating, or is it multi-layered, or just a single layer like we have on top of our heads?
The hairs that we collect are like human hairs, but they're very limp, absence of medulla, seem to have a 5-cell structure around the outside of the shaft rather than 6 or 7 like humans have.
Cell or scale?
Scales, I'm sorry.
Okay.
But so they might have some under hair in certain parts of their body, but we've never, you know, if we're collecting it, we don't realize it. But here's what's really interesting about these hairs. We tested every color, including white human hair, which, you know, Doug's got silver hair. I mean, there's no medulla in his hair. We can't get the reaction. We've tested grizzly bear. We've tested black bear. We've tested deer, horsehair. We've tested 126 species now in the last week of hair trying to get to the same thing. And you know which ones actually glow the same pink? It's going to blow you away. There's only a few of them, and they are nocturnal mammals. A flying squirrel glows pink. A possum will glow that same fluorescent pink reaction. And even pocket gophers, which live their life pretty much underground, will glow a pink reaction. Every other mammal hair we've tested, we can't get to glow pink. Now, there's a lot of them that we haven't tested. I really want to test like bat hair and, you know, these, now that we're kind of realizing the few that happen to be nocturnal animals, I really want to test more nocturnal mammals to see if we can get this reaction. But Doug's speaking to Saturday at the Bigfoot conference in northern Minnesota with Jeff Meldrum and Cliff Brackman and those guys. And he's going to kind of release this to the world as far as this theory and what it looks like. And, you know, whether this is a fluorescent reaction or whether it's a reflection is hard to say. The other thing we don't know for sure is we're seeing this on camera as pink, right?
All right.
It doesn't mean that Bigfoot seeing in a black light spectrum, he may see it as purple or fluorescent red. You know, this is just what our results are showing, that there's definitely a reaction to it. But how Bigfoot would perceive it, they have to be able to see that.
Right. It depends on how their actual eyes made up.
Who knows if they're seeing it as pink?
Right.
You know. But it's interesting because, I mean, if you can imagine, you know, one of the things Doug talks about a lot with UV vision, a toad when it's hopping along and pissing along the rocks, you'd see that piss light up. When you see deer droppings, or when you see berries, ripe berries, the ones that have the most nutrients in them would actually give off a better reaction than ones that have a lower sugar content and less nutrients with UV vision. You'd actually be able to see different berries and tell which ones gave you the most nutrition because of the sugar value and the different the ripeness of them.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so many, it's so interesting, all the things we're kind of unlocking here that, again, we can't say any of it's fact, but it's all leading into this really interesting theory that one thing is supporting the next thing and is supporting the next thing. You know, if they could see in UV vision, you'd ask yourself, well, why would they need to? Well, now we're starting to realize all these reasons why they might need to. But
it's funny because when I go out, like when I was on the 168, and where I carry a UV flashlight with me.
mm-hmm.
It's a small pocket flashlight, but it's UV, and you can, you could see urine and all that other sorts of stuff like that. I was like, well, that's cool.
Well, one of the things, like when I worked with black lights and fluorescent technology for quite a while before I got into real estate and started working with Doug. And one of the things that I had designed was we were doing black light volleyball courts like 25 years ago, where we had fluorescent colored nets, fluorescent colored
mm-hmm.
balls, and we'd surround the court with black light technology, right? And one of the things I was building was these 6 foot tall light boxes that would have 4 T40 tube fluorescent bulbs in them that were black light bulbs. Okay. Mm-hmm. And when we built those, I had put a clear plexiglass, a dadoed edge in that cabinet that these were in, and slid a clear sheet of plexiglass in so that if a ball hit it, it wouldn't break these bulbs, right? And the first time we built one of them, we're in our shop, we have all this fluorescent stuff around, and we plug it in, and we're expecting everything to light up, and nothing's glowing. I mean, there's a purple light in there from it, but nothing's glowing. And we were like, what the hell's going on? So we leaned it back and slid the plexiglass out, and the whole place lit up like a Pink Floyd concert. So the plexiglass had a UV filter in it, okay? Now, the reason why we're not seeing this reaction on those hair follicles is because our eyes, if you were to have surgery and had cataracts where they remove that filter out of your eyes, if you've had cataract surgery, you might be able to look at that hair follicle and see the pink without needing to look at it on a phone to see it. But the reason why most of us can't see it with our naked eyes is because we have that filter built into our vision. But when you're filming it on a camera, it doesn't have that filter. So I look at the hair. It's so weird. I look at the hair follicle, it's not glowing, and I aim my camera at it, and I look at the camera screen, and it's bright pink. And it's like, it's just the craziest thing. But it's interesting as we try to advance this, try to figure out how this may appear to them and unlock more reasons why they would want to be able to see like that. What advantages do they have of seeing like that? You know, they can see from a mile away, they might be able to see other animals moving in the forest or hear them. But when they see each other, if they could identify each other by a fluorescent reaction or reflection in their vision, that would be huge for them to be able to just look through the dark and pinpoint where each other are.
Yeah, but then that brings into question like the wood knocks, and how they communicate via distance. If you can see each other from a half mile away.
I might be able to see you from a half mile away, but if you want to signal to me that a deer's walking towards me or that there's a threat, seeing you ain't going to do much. If we have a system where, hey, 2 knocks means look out, 1 knock means what, I think that's probably, it's more of a communication rather than a location type deal. But
no, you're
right.
But
it's just something interesting that we've been farting around with, trying to I mean, your curiosity starts running when you see it react right away. You're like, well, what other animals would, right? And then as you're looking into that, I went to a taxidermist and got like 80 some hair samples. I walked into the local Cabela's and clipped a couple polar bear hairs off of a mounted polar bear when nobody was looking, hoping that I wouldn't get arrested. Because Doug says, we got to get polar bear hairs. I said, I know where there's a polar bear, but I get some bail money ready just in case it doesn't work out. And then he wanted to get a flying squirrel because these things light up. And I can't speak geographically all over the country, but in our area up here in northern Minnesota, flying squirrels are really common. They're all over. As a matter of fact, his camera network that he has lined up where we have 9 cameras running 24 hours, we get flying squirrels constantly coming up and smacking into the cameras. Like they sense something, they don't like that camera. But we get them jumping on a tree trunk, and then they jump over to another tree trunk. I've got video clips, like 10 of them, of that happened just in the last couple of weeks. But once we realized that their hair reacts like that, Doug says, well, we have to get one. I says, well, what are we going to do? Go out and shoot one? I mean, load up some bird shot? He goes, you know how hard it'd be to shoot one of them damn things? They move so fast. It's at night when you see them. So he gets on eBay and finds a taxidermized freaking flying squirrel for $65 and orders it. And he's going to embed a camera in it and like have it hovering in a tree somewhere just to see if Bigfoot could see that, giving the same reaction that they identify with each other's. That's cool. Would they come closer to it?
Yeah.
Would they get close enough to like really check it out? Like, why is this flying squirrel still, right? So,
do they communicate in scent? You know, do they have scent glands? These Bigfoot. I know their scent is acute to a certain degree.
There's a lot of discussion as to amongst researchers, and everybody's got a different opinion, first of all, because until we have a body to identify, really research it. But, why do some encounters have a strong odor and some don't? Like my encounter was on an island up in Manitoba. It obviously swam there. It probably got rinsed off and was pretty clean. I never smelled anything when I was 15 feet away from it. But other people will just say, look, the thing was 100 feet away from me and I could smell it in the woods that day, So why is it stinking sometimes and other encounters don't have any odor? That's interesting. But
recently Sean had a guest on his show, and supposedly this gentleman has had interactions with Bigfoot, and he had a lot of information. And he said that they bathe, but then you have ones that don't, just don't give a shit.
Just like humans.
So, and those are the ones that stink, and a lot of times they're
ostracized, or
they're usually loners or whatever, according to this gentleman.
And a lot of it could be diet. I mean, if you're around them when they're in a berry season and they're eating a lot of berries versus eating meat,
or asparagus or whatever.
But, one of the things that we also realize is, the sebum or the alba vertex, they call it, the waxy substance like skin oil, but for them it's a little waxier. We started realizing after looking at these zookeepers that are taking care of gorillas, gorillas have something very similar to that. And when they touch a glass window, it's hard to get off, just like these sebum samples that we collect. When one grabs this rubber ball that I leave out there and leaves prints or smudges on it, I mean, I got to scrub the shit out of it to get that off of it after we take DNA samples of it. But we're starting to realize that these zookeepers, when they talk about these gorillas, in their armpits, they emit like a big waxy substance out of a big gland in their armpit. And what they do is they wipe their hands on their armpits and they smear it on their skin for protection from bugs, bacteria, protects their hands, you know, just like human skin oil doesn't. We always thought that they were emitting it through sweat pores and things like that all over their body, which they may be. But these zookeepers say some of these gorillas, these big alpha male ones, they'll lift their arms up and they've got like a bubble of wax there. And maybe it just emits it more from that area, like we do sweat, than maybe it would emit it from its face. But they wipe it from the armpits and put it around their body where they have exposed skin. And that led us to believe, well, geez, you know, we've always assumed that this is coming out of sweat pores with these Bigfoot, but maybe they emit more out of their armpits like gorillas do. Just like humans sweat more out of their armpits than they do maybe behind their ear. You know, although you could sweat anywhere on your body, you do it more in certain areas, right? And so, you know, some of that may have to do with the odor too. You know, if you've got one that's smearing its you know, body sweat or wax substances all over its body, and it just did it recently, maybe it smells really strong.
Or like a mating call, or
who knows?
Hey, I'm in season, or whatever.
I mean, think about white-tailed deer. I do a lot of white-tailed deer hunting, and if I shoot a buck bow hunting, and it's during the rut, when I go to field dress that buck, I mean, those tarsal glands, they stink. I mean, you can smell it from 50 yards away. They stink. That same deer 3 weeks earlier and 3 weeks later than that point, you wouldn't smell anything on that deer. So.
Well, you're 31 subs away, bud.
Yeah, I saw that. I appreciate you trying to get me over that hump. But yeah, I was like, hey, how come I'm not on my air right now?
And your subs are going up.
Yeah, my subs are going up.
It's those last few that are the hardest to get. And then you'll break it by a couple subs, and then it'll back up
back down.
Yeah,
like,
I was actually watching
people?
that. I was watching that earlier today, and it went down like 3 or 4 subs, and I was like, hey, Terry, do you remember it being that low last night? It was up higher than that. What happened? I was like,
you're trying to think of what did I say? Did I say somebody?
I've already figured out.
Offended. Why did I lose 3 people?
Yeah, I'm going to piss somebody off. You know, you stay around me long enough, I'll piss you off. So,
well, that's why people would subscribe. If you never pissed anybody off, nobody'd come watch your show.
Right. It's one of those things. You grab a mic, or you be on a podcast or whatever. You're going to just open your mouth and say, "Hey, all pink, warm, fuzzy shit," and somebody's going to hate you for it.
I've shared some of mine and Doug's research on different podcasts and different shows, and I always have to research a couple of their past episodes if I'm not familiar with it, just to see, is this a show where we can piss people off, or is this one of those shows where nobody ever does that?
Come on, and if you want to be on my show, you can say whatever you want to. I don't care. Yeah. I may say, hey, I don't believe you.
I'll have you back down to 100 subs, and we'll be starting from ground zero.
All right. Well, that's fine. I'll go for it. I'll take that chance. So, how long have you been researching Bigfoot to this level, to this degree?
To this level, not very long. 2 years. You know, I had my encounter when I was 18 years old, and for 30 some years, I had a career as owning a couple real estate firms and did a lot of property investment, and I had way too much to lose to be telling people about how Bigfoot threw a log at me, right? I mean, I just walked around carrying that burden and never told anybody, never told my wife, I'm the son of a hunting guide, never told my dad, never told, it's just the 2 people that I was with. There was 3 of us there when that happened. And we just agreed we were not going to risk our reputations on, you know, but it got to a point where when I turned 50 years old and my business had gotten big enough where I could start backing down from it, I developed this I don't really give a fuck what anybody thinks attitude. And that's when I really started getting into the research. I wanted to really circle back on that experience and try to figure out, why was it on that island? Why did that happen the way that it did? What was its motive? What did I do to offend it? I mean, I had these questions, like I just wanted to figure it out, right?
Oh yeah.
So and I had always lived in South Dakota, which is pretty flat land, not a lot of Bigfoots, but we always hunted and vacationed and spent, 2 months a year way up in northern Minnesota. And so a couple of years ago, I bought a lake home up there on a nice lake, and that's when I really started getting into the research, because I realized I was in an area that within an hour of a really good area. I had researched a couple different areas 2 years ago that I had found on Google Maps that were out in the middle of nowhere, that even in the middle of July during tourist season, nobody would be in these areas. They were in protected forest areas where there was no ATV traffic allowed. I mean, it's by foot, and it's miles from roads. And if anybody was going to be walking into one of these research areas, they'd have to walk their ass off to get there. And it just thick forest. And so I
avoid the moose and all that stuff too.
Yeah, well, I started looking at those areas, and after checking about 5 different ones, doing a simple research element, I was leaving a ball. I'd go out in the field and I'd play with a ball for an hour, a big red rubber ball that you buy at Walmart for $2, about 15 inches round. I'd kick it and throw it in the air and play with it for about an hour, and I'd just leave it sit in this meadow that was surrounded by these woods. And I'd walk a mile back to the river and get in my kayak and kayak 8 miles back out of there. And then the next day I would go in, kayak 8 miles back in, hike back in there, and see if the ball was moved. Because I knew that if it was moved, it couldn't be a bear. These things are such light rubber that a claw would pop it if you put any pressure on it.
Right.
And I did that like for weeks, trying all these different clearings that I was finding on Google Maps, till I went into one and I came back the next day and there was no wind overnight, and it was moved 80 yards and there was like grayish white waxy smears on it. And I knew then that I think that I was pretty confident that I had maybe found an area that this would work. So then I put Velcro tabs on the ball. I cut 1-inch Velcro tabs and stuck about 8 of them on that ball, and went back a week later, played with that ball for an hour and left it, and came back the next day. It was moved again, and there was hair samples on the Velcro tabs.
Oh, wow.
And that's when we realized I had an active area. And now for 25 weeks, I've been kayaking in every Thursday, leaving items, and then I kayak in every Friday and remove them. And we search them for DNA samples, hair samples, sebum smears. And over the last 25 weeks, we've collected about over 30 hair samples and 14 different sebum smear DNA samples. And we've had interactions of, they're opening peanut butter jars, eating the peanut butter out, and screwing lids back on them. I mean, a bear can't do that.
So they definitely have that much dexterity.
Yeah.
They got that much dexterity.
I always wondered when I go in every week, it's the same. I get in there at about 10 a.m. on Thursday, hike in, leave the stuff, and then I come back at 10 a.m. on Friday. So whether they live 20, if they habitate 20 miles from there and they just happen to be there when they found that ball that first time, I've made it to where I'm part of their routine. They know I'm coming Thursday, and they know they have 24 hours to play with and explore whatever I leave. And I don't have any electronics there. Nothing's powered. The cameras aren't. I I have cameras I painted fluorescent blue, game cameras, that I just leave lay on the ground, and they'll be moved. They'll pick them up and carry them around, and I'll come back next day, they're moved or they're hanging on a branch.
Were they on, or you just
no,
left them
nothing
there?
has power in it.
Oh, okay.
It's the ultimate betrayal. What I'm doing is I'm getting them conditioned to this area. They like the peanut
wait
butter.
for this, Sean.
They like the peanut butter. They like
Okay.
we leave polished rock. I have cameras strapped to trees that are painted fluorescent blue, because if they have UV vision, they'd be able to see them from hundreds of yards away. And in front of them, I'll leave a baby food jar with a polished rock in it with the lid on. And the next day I'll come back and that lid's off and the polished rock is gone. And there's no humans out there. I guarantee you there's no humans out there. And so we're doing things like this, and we know that we've got in. So I've always wondered, when I leave the stuff at 10 a.m. on Thursday, do they wait till midnight to get it, or do they, when do they come out and play with it? I've always assumed that maybe they're watching me go in. And it's a lot of times I'll leave when it's 6 a.m. because I have to paddle upriver 8 miles to get to it.
All right.
And as probably the last 6 or 7 times as I'm paddling in, I'll have them wood knocking on each side of the river of me. And then there'll be wood knocks 400 yards in front of me. And I'll paddle up to those points and I'll think, okay, I'm almost to where these wood knocks happened. And there'll be wood knocks 200-300 yards up in front of me. And I'll paddle further thinking I'm about to where those wood knocks were, and they'll be up in front of me. It's like they escort me in.
Like the sentinels on the edge of the water, just waiting.
But when I leave my kayak and hike the mile back to where the actual meadow is, I leave my phone in the kayak. I don't bring cameras in there. And that's by design. I don't call to them. I don't wood knock. I don't howl. I go in, I play with the ball, I leave my shit, and I walk out. I'm not, as far as they're concerned, I'm just the biggest idiot who plays with shit and forgets it, right? And they go out and they explore the stuff because they know I'm not looking for them. If I hear a wood knock right in the trees right by me, I don't stand there staring at the trees trying to see what it was. I just look down at the ground and I walk out. And it's all designed so that this last visit, the ultimate betrayal, it's going to happen here in about 4 weeks. We're going to have stereo cameras, high-speed cameras, audio recorders. That red ball, we've got another red ball built that's a foam core that has 4K color cameras facing all 4 directions with lithium battery in it. So I'll go out there and play with that ball, and then I'll set it there, and I'll hit the power switch and walk out.
Okay,
and
so do you have any?
all those cameras that they've been comfortable going in front of to pick up the little rewards that are there, they're all going to be powered.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just trying to catch. I've got them so conditioned to be comfortable with it. I'm trying to catch them with their ass out, completely not expecting it.
That sounds cool. Have you thought about using cellular devices on these cameras so you can see it real time?
Well, what we're planning on doing is it's just a short window. I mean, it's 24 hours, and we're trying to figure out if we can actually all night, overnight, with like 4 different drones running in relays, have constant drone surveillance over the top of it all night. Just so that we're not there in the area, but we're within a couple miles of it or a mile of it,
Mm-hmm.
And, but I don't, I've really, the whole goal of the research was to collect the DNA, and we've accomplished that. This is just the icing on the cake if we could get video, because it's like I've talked about the Patterson-Gimlin footage. What was so cool about that is you've got 4 basic elements in research that we try to get as researchers. You've got video or pictures. You've got audio recordings. You've got DNA, and you've got foot castings. Okay, those are basically the 4 things we try to achieve in research. Patterson-Gimlin had video and they had castings. And had they known about DNA technology back then, they could have got DNA too, because they know every log that it touched when it walked out of there.
All right.
So, you know, if you look at what they could have achieved had they known, that's what was so rare about it. Almost everything we capture, somebody gets a hair sample or a DNA sample, or they find a footprint, but we never get 2 of the 4 or 3 of the 4. If we could say we got all these DNA samples from this one area, and we have this 4K footage of, you know, I don't know what a Bigfoot can sense. I don't try to claim that. You know, whether they can sense IR light, whether they can sense a battery presence, a powered device, radio waves. I don't claim to know what they can. But if they've been playing with this ball, and in 25 weeks, there's only 4 weeks where that ball wasn't moved. They've gotten comfortable playing with that ball.
Right.
Okay, so it walks out of a tree line from 80 yards away and walks up to that ball, and halfway there it says, whoa, I sense something weird here. And it turns around and walks away. It's too late. You're already on video.
Well,
So
that sounds.
we really are confident that we've conditioned this researcher so well with no technology for so long and gotten them so comfortable with it that we've probably got a high probability of being able to catch something on video. But now, do you want to try to be there overnight, or do you want to put too many electronics into that area to where they just show up and they're like, whoa, we're not even going near it? I mean, you want enough to achieve what you're trying to achieve, but you go too much,
You
they
don't
might not
overdo
even
it.
show up again.
Oh yeah.
You're only going to have one shot. If they come in there and they get caught on video and they realize that something changed there and this is all different now, they'll never come back again.
No.
Absolutely. Well, I can, where I was in healthcare and did the EEGs and sleep lab, humans are sensitive to 60 cycle EMF. So, I would assume, just by, default, from what I've learned from people just like you, listening to you folks that actually do this research, that, they could easily pick out a 60 cycle EMF bleep from something.
Mm-hmm.
So if you put multiple devices in there, it'll light up like you poured a floodlight in there.
Yeah, yeah. Well, there's so many different things when you think about, well, first of all, I believe that the weakest link that a Bigfoot has is its own curiosity. That's where they fail. That's
Right.
where they're going to give up and get caught, is they got too curious about something. That's usually how sightings happen. They got too curious about something. They decided to cross that road during daylight instead of at night because they were so curious about something and something saw them, And, that's what we're trying to do, is we try to get them, like on the last night, we have a fluorescent blue feather that I'm going to lay in front of a camera. I've never used a blue feather in that research area yet. There's always, every week we put something different in there.
Have you ever thought of like capturing like a fingerprint or a thumbprint or a skin print? You ever thought of like putting like silly putty or something with them to play with?
We use plexiglass. So like when I set down, I use Bitto honey candy bars. You know what those are?
Oh, man.
Oh,
They're
yeah,
like
yeah.
maple. Okay. So
I'm from the South. Everybody knows that.
I got like a 30-pound bag of these things I got online, of the little bite-sized ones.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll take them out. I won't unwrap them. I'll put one down on the ground, but I'll take a 10-inch piece square of plexiglass, and I'll set that piece of candy on the ground about 4 inches out from the base of a tree, and I'll lean that plexiglass 45 degrees over it so that they have to move the plexiglass to get the candy, and there they leave a print on it.
Oh, that's cool. And
just little things like that. And we try to share this with other researchers, because to get DNA, you probably don't need to do a lot different about what you're already doing in your research. If you've got a gifting site where they're coming and picking up marbles or glass beads or whatever you're leaving, right? Lean a piece of plexiglass over it this next time so they have to move the plexiglass to get it. And then you pick up the plexiglass and look at it, and there's a smudge on it. You got a DNA sample. Or a Velcro tab. if there's a fence, if you see them if you think that they're walking around the end of a fence every night, put Velcro tabs around the top of that fence post so that when they rest their hand on it, when they turn that corner, maybe you get a hair sample off of it.
Right.
You know, it's not altering what you're doing. It's adding a little element that may collect a DNA sample.
So how many individuals do you think there might be plausible there?
I know I've got at least 3. And I only say that because there was one morning where I showed up, and I've never done it again since then. First of all, understand that every time I go into this area, I go alone. Okay, right. I don't ever want to compromise that. I mean, I'd love to bring Doug in there with me, but they've never seen 2 people walk in there. I don't want to ruin this, right? So I'm alone. And I can tell you that if me and you, or me, you, and Moggs, or the 4 of us were to walk out at 3 a.m. somewhere, we'd be some pretty brave bastards, no matter what happened. We might just say, hey, let's keep going, right? When you're by yourself, it's different. And I say that as a combat veteran who was in the Army. I was in the 82nd Airborne for 6 years. I tell you what, you walk through by yourself that far from anywhere with no cell phone on me, and you've got something wood knocking. I pull my kayak up, and I walked 100 yards from my kayak through this corridor, through these trees to get to this meadow, and it was dark. It was like 6 a.m, and I had a wood knock behind me where my kayak was. And I stopped, froze me in my tracks, because it was the first time I'd ever heard them be there while I'm there. I knew they were taking stuff. I knew they were touching stuff, but I'd never had any of them vocalize or do anything while I'm there. And so it just froze me. I'm like, holy shit, there's one here right now. And after that one knocked behind me where my kayak was, up in front of me where the meadow is, another one knocked. And it was like the one was saying, hey, he's here. And the other one was saying, okay, we're ready. And that's when I realized they're here right now. I don't have a weapon. It's dark. I don't have anything. I don't have a phone to call somebody and say, I just got my ass kicked by a Bigfoot. I don't have nothing, right? And you're just walking through that dark by yourself saying, don't look around. Just walk normal like you didn't recognize what just happened. And it's unnerving. I've made it a point to not go back there until it's light out, just because of the fact that it's unnerving to do that. But
wow. But I think what you're doing is awesome because you're taking these samples from all over the country and comparing them.
Yeah, and even like
it's going to have to be done eventually.
Doug's research area is about 2 hours from mine. Okay. And we're collecting samples. I know he's got multiple species at his, but here's the thing. Even though I've got 30 some hair samples, I know there's at least 3 individuals here because I've heard 3 different sound offs at the same time in an area from 3 different directions within a minute. I knew that it couldn't be one moving that quickly, but there could be more than that. I don't know. I know there's at least 3. But that doesn't mean that it could be that the one juvenile is the one that always plays with the damn ball and touches everything. My 30-some samples could all be from one of them.
One, yeah.
I don't know. And like Doug's area, he's got multiple on one property where he collects a lot of his hairs. One of the things they realize is that there is a line of power lines that run through the forest there. Mm-hmm. And 6-7 foot up on these power lines, there's clumps of hair in that creosoted snaggly wood of those power lines where it looks like they're like rubbing their back. And this isn't bear hair. It's way too high. And his hairs look exactly like my hairs. They're 8 to 10 inches long. They're translucent. It looks like a dishwater blonde lady with longer hair, like you plucked her hair out, but it's thinner because there's no medulla in it. Like I can hold the hair with the tweezers and it's 2 limp, inches right? Out from it, it's limping straight down. And as I turn that tweezers 360 degrees, the limp stays down. Mm-hmm. It doesn't kind of get up and lay down. It's just, there's nothing structural in that core. And it's unlike any other hair you've seen. But I know that if my hair is Bigfoot hair, I know his hair is Bigfoot hair, and he's finding it in clumps. Like he'll find 20 hairs snaggled into just a snag in that, and some of them are 8 foot up in the air. And we know that bears won't climb those power poles. I mean, they just don't. I mean, every now and then in urban areas, you see a bear climb up a pole or something, but they don't do it out there on these power poles. They know the danger of it. But I'm pretty sure it's Bigfoot here. They're following that corridor of them power poles as a travel route. It's something that they recognize.
And it's easy walking.
Well, yeah, it's definitely easy walking, and you can see way out in front of you at night.
That's interesting.
But so he's collecting hairs 2 hours away from me. We've got hair samples coming in from researchers that, first of all, with it being $5 to $10 grand to test every hair sample, I can't just have somebody say, "Hey, I got some hair off my fence. Here you go." The good thing is we can look at it under a microscope and right now have the first step of vetting be, is there 5 scales around it or is there 6 or 7? If there's 6 or 7, we aren't even going to bother testing it. It's probably not a Bigfoot hair. If there's 5 scales around it, now all of a sudden you've got something. We'll pay to test that hair. But you brought up an interesting thing where under fur and things like that. Now, you hear different accounts of people who see Bigfoot and they describe what it looked like. Southern regions, you hear about the hair on the top of the head and it's usually fairly short. I mean, like really short hair on the dome of the head. The one that I saw in Manitoba had hair like freaking Keith Urban. I mean, he had hair that just like plumped down, right? But, it gets 40 below zero there. Maybe there's a reason for that, right? So the types of hair, like I know Tim T down in Florida has some hair samples. And when I looked at pictures of his hair samples, immediately I thought, there's no way those are Bigfoot hairs. I mean, they're coarse. They're not really long. They don't look super fine like the ones that we're collecting. But that's not to say that on a Florida skunk ape, that's the way that hair is.
True.
It's a completely different region.
Oh, yeah.
And if you think about it, like when you talk about the height of Bigfoot, I've never heard anybody describe a Bigfoot down in Florida or Texas as being over 8 foot tall. Yet we have 10-footers described at least 10 foot a lot of times for these bigger alpha males up in the northern regions, right? And now think about this. I used to live in Georgia. I could shoot a white-tailed deer there that has a big rack, but its body is about the size of a German Shepherd. And I can shoot a deer up here in northern Minnesota, a white-tailed deer that dressed will be 300 pounds. I mean, it's this, and DNA-wise, exactly the same species, exactly the same DNA, 30% or more difference in body mass for an adult 6-year-old deer. So
Just
that could easily be the same genetic reference of difference between a Florida Bigfoot and a Canadian Bigfoot, let's say, or a Washington State Bigfoot. They could just reach a bigger size there. Same thing. I mean, it's that way with every species geographically.
Well, Manitoba's more sparsely populated by humans versus average state in the United States. So they have more robust game that they can get their hands on.
Yeah, and the way that they hunt and collect food is different too. I mean, I believe that's why the one that I encountered was on an island, because when you see when we were on that lake fishing for the 4 days prior to this encounter, we saw moose and deer swim from island to island. Mm-hmm. It's like, I don't know why they do, but they do. And if you're a Bigfoot and you weigh 1,200 pounds and you're 10 foot tall, it's not easy to kill a deer. I guarantee you that. If you've got a forest and you're trying to chase this thing through a forest, or you're trying to be elusive and catch it and ambush it, to take it down and chase it any amount of distance when it's got 4 legs and weighs 250 pounds and you've got 2 legs and you weigh 1,200 pounds, it's not easy. They have brute strength, but the speed and agility to chase down a deer that can move that easily.
Oh, right.
I'm not saying that Bigfoot can't move fast. Obviously, it probably can, and it's very elusive and it's quiet. But it's not easy just to kill a big game animal. But if you're on an island, and you might have to wait 2 days for it to happen, but all of a sudden you see a deer swimming to this little island that you're on in the trees, you know exactly where it's going to come on the shore. It's going to be exhausted when it gets there. And if it tries to run from you, where the hell is it going to go? You're on a little island. It doesn't have an infinite forest to run from you through.
Yeah.
So islands are actually great ambush hunting spots in these really remote areas and bigger lakes that have little islands like that.
Oh, yeah. Here is a question that obviously Mogian's heard the story behind it, and I've been talking to Vault of Nightmares at length to this. I had a caller, an unscreened caller by the name of Owlman. That's what he went by. Apparently, goodbye, Nikki.
Bye. Have a good night, guys.
Hey, Nikki, nice seeing you.
He's one of these no-kill researchers, this Owlman.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been doing a little bit of research on him, where he's from, and if he has any digital footprint or footprints have been on any other shows or anything like that, because of all the massive amounts of information that half of it, I kind of believe, yeah, sure, why not? It kind of pairs up with what I've heard, and there's a lot of the information that I have no clue whether it's right or wrong. But he claims that these Bigfoot, these Sasquatch, in single or family pairs or whatever, live as close to like the outskirts of Chicago in these little, gated communities where you have a little bit of wood. Is that possible? Would you think?
Well, that's what Doug's biggest interaction areas, believe it or not, is right by Blaine, Minnesota, which is a suburb of Minneapolis.
Mm-hmm.
Now there's a lot of lakes and woods there, but I mean, from where they've had sightings there, you could walk 5 minutes and be standing on a high school football field. I mean, there's a lot of researchers will say that why do we see them in remote areas like the forests in Washington State or British Columbia or Manitoba and Alberta, Wyoming, Montana, northern Minnesota? That makes sense, right? Because there's forests there.
Oh, yeah.
But they're actually finding it easier and they're getting more comfortable to exist on the easy prey that is on the edges of civilization.
Okay. Well, how
the
could
trash,
the trash and whatnot? But how could
gardens.
you, 1,000, estimate 1,000-pound individual? How could you hide something like that? The scat alone, from what I understand, is pretty potent, like on the order of a skunk. Well, so how could you hide that?
We were just having that conversation, me and Doug, last night, actually, when I said I went 2 weeks in a row where I didn't have any interaction in my research area. And he said, maybe they left the area. And I said, I don't think they would have left the area. He goes, well, what I mean is berries could dry up in an area or whatever's attracting them to an area, and they might just move 3 or 4 miles, right, to where they find more. And they just fall out of that routine of going to that area because whatever originally drew them there isn't there right at the moment, okay? And you'll see that with salmon runs and rivers and, food sources are cyclic in a lot of areas, right? And so that means that would explain why they move. But then we started talking about where it habitates. I don't believe a Bigfoot or a family of Bigfoot habitates in the same spot for more than 2 or 3 days in a row. Now, people will say, it's different maybe if they have a cave or an underground dwelling. But if you think about it, if the 3 of us went camping right now, we couldn't camp in one area for 4 or 5 days without matting everything down, telling where you're taking a piss every damn day,
Sure.
where you're, you just can't travel in that habitated area for more than 48 hours without leaving a lot of sign.
Right.
So you know, in these forested areas where we don't have the cave systems and stuff like that, they may build tree structures, they may sleep in brush, whatever, but I don't think they do it in the same spot more than once or twice without moving a few hundred yards to a different spot, because you just have a big area of shit, something's been camping here for a month, right?
Right.
It'd be so obvious. And I think that's what you're seeing on the edges of these civilizations. You say, how could they exist there? They don't exist in that same spot all the time. They're in one spot for a day or two, and then they're a mile away in a different spot, and they're so elusive. And we take that for granted because we spend a few weeks a year in the outdoors, and we call ourselves men and survivalists and all that shit.
Okay.
They spend 24 hours a day, 365 days a year for decades and decades being elusive, hunting, hiding. They're so fucking good at it that we can't even wrap our head around
It's their
how
nature.
good they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just their survival instinct is so off of any scale we can even relate to.
Okay, I got another question about language. Have you heard the samurai chatter or any kind of simulation of the Sierra sounds? Have you heard anything like that, or any kind of vocalization that sounds like it might be somebody forming words or a Bigfoot?
I have not. The encounter that I had when I was 18, the only thing that specimen ever said was, "Whew." It exhaled hard when it threw this log at me from 10, 15 feet away. And that's the only, I mean, I never heard it howl. I never, any of that. But having the advantage of having a research partner like Doug gets sent audio clips from all over the world. People saying, what is this animal? What made this sound? People will say, this isn't a coyote. And he forensically goes through audio and video files that are sent to him and delayers them and checks infrasound and all these different things. And through watching how he does that and hearing those things, I've kind of developed kind of this mental library of, well, that doesn't sound right, or that does sound right, based on what he's kind of taught me. You know what I mean? But personally, there's one sound that I think a lot of people mistake for Bigfoot, and that is a lynx. Mm-hmm. And it's not going to happen down south because Canadian lynx aren't down south. But up in these northern areas, if you've ever heard coyotes and wolves,
oh yeah,
one thing they can't do is roll an A to an O vowel sound. Okay, so a coyote will be like, oh. But they can't go, wah, or ow. They can't change the ah to an ooh and an ooh from an ah. A canine cannot do that. So when you get a vocalization where you hear that roll, that right away is a flag that this could be a Bigfoot call, because canines can't do that. If it's a big howling, long sustained call, they can't roll it. Then also cats, mountain lions and bobcats, they have screeches that are pretty out there, but they're very trebly screeches. There's not a lot of bass. There's no infrasound.
Odor sounds like a baby calling with bobcat sometimes.
Yeah, but where that changes,
mountain lions scream like
where that changes is with a lynx. Now, and I've had the privilege, I'll call it, of having for 5 weeks in a row, I had a lynx would follow me every morning I kayaked into my site, to where I started grabbing fish fillets out of my freezer and bringing them with, and I'd throw them up on the beach and it'd come down and eat them. Every day for 5 weeks. And after 5 weeks, he wasn't there anymore. But it wasn't a big male, but it was a juvenile male that would just follow me up. I never saw more than one. But I've heard him when it's dark and I'm unloading my kayak and stuff. I've heard that lynx call out, and that caused me to do a lot of research on lynx vocalizations and listening to them online. I'll tell you what, they're not a huge cat like a mountain lion or a tiger. They're bigger than a bobcat. But these things make a sound that when you look at their size and you hear this way the sound is, you can't believe that this thing is making that sound. I mean, it is a raspy, growly, sustained howl that sounds like something just crawled out of hell. I mean, it's fucking scary. And I think people will hear a lynx sometimes and think, that's not a mountain lion, that's not a wolf, that's not, and they're right, it's none of those, but
Right.
they haven't heard the sound that a lynx can make. So they're discounting, it must be Bigfoot. And they don't realize, well, there is an animal that can make a sound like that. But because it's a really low, gutturally, growly, screaming, all at the same time, raspy, sustained howl. And it's just hard to explain. And I encourage anybody who's in the chat there wants to check it. Go listen to some YouTube videos of different lynx sounds that they can make. And you'll see where somebody could easily confuse it. The samurai chatter thing, this is, I saw where somebody had posted online that there was a guy, I don't know if he spoke Mandarin, but somebody who spoke an Asian language was listening to the Sierra Sound chatters, that samurai chatter. And there's one point in it where in Mandarin, I think it's Mandarin, that chatter, where the one, and it's two different individuals that are speaking. The one says hello, and the other one says something that's undecipherable, and then hello in Mandarin, buried in, sandwiched in all of that. And he thinks that that second one that responded with the hello was addressing the other one by a name, and then said hello. But he says clearly in that language, that is hello. Mandarin or whatever. I think it's a Mandarin or Cantonese or something. But there are two hellos in that Sierra Sound chatter that are very clear and distinct. And I read that. That's what I don't speak that language, so I can't verify it. But people have been jumping on board with that lately, saying that they believe that's true. Now, that would mean that, these things, just like caribou and everything else, probably arrived in North America crossing a land bridge, just like everything else did. That's up in Canada and the northern U.S. But if that's the case, it could have originated in an area where they learned a language and kept passing it on, perhaps. I don't know.
Well, that's how, if Moggs can remember, I believe he probably will, said that Owlman said, these Bigfoot would go down toward Illinois where he's stationed or where he's living, and coming up from Quebec or whatever you want to call it, and they would have a French accent. And just because of their
I don't think there's any doubt that, first of all, if you think about it, back in the 1880s, the railroad systems that were being built from the east going west, and then the race out in California going east, right? Almost, we're talking tens of thousands of Oriental Railroad workers working out in the wilderness. So it's not to say that, well, there's no way they could have learned that. Maybe they didn't speak that in North America 500 years ago. Maybe it's something they learned 140 years ago.
Well, that is something that Owlman addressed was, there's certain words that they use, like supposedly they understand afraid, but they don't understand scared.
Yeah.
And when say like supposedly they get together, certain clans will go away or come back. They're more how did he put it? They weren't.
Different clans would come together and they would communicate, but there's one of the reasons why they absolutely didn't want to have any kind of interaction with humans, because it would change their language to the point where they wouldn't understand each other.
Because like with the interaction with the human, they would learn new words and they'd start to use that word so amongst themselves. So when other clan members showed up, different clans, they would be like, where the hell did you learn
Five
that? Basically.
different languages being incorporated into a conversation that
Well,
not
it would get
everybody
them in
knows all
trouble.
five.
It would get
Yeah.
them in trouble with the other clans because they were speaking. Obviously, you've been hanging out with humans.
Right.
Well, consider this now too, is that whatever they're capable of speaking in any geographical area, whatever they've learned, whatever they've picked up, whether it was hundreds of years ago or 100 years ago, think about the Native American cultures. There are dialects and tribes from around North America that have completely lost their language. They've lost it. What they spoke 100 years ago is a new language, because 200 years ago that tribe spoke in a different language, and through passing it on to generations, it was just lost. There's especially in the Northwest, you'll hear about tribes that talk about, well, it's a lost language. It's a language that our forefathers spoke, and we still know a few words of it, but nobody really knows how that whole language flowed, because it was just lost, and we evolved into a different way to communicate, right? And if that's the case, they could be practicing languages that we don't even realize that we used as humans.
Yeah, well, they could
300
be
years ago.
Yeah, they could be mimicking or using words that old Aboriginals tribes used that they interacted with. Obviously, they did, just based off of the stories and the totem poles and whatnot from that. So, yeah, that makes perfect sense. In college, when I was going through healthcare college for respiratory, had a teacher or a college professor that was going for his doctorate in English, and he did a study on Southwest Virginia and Tennessee and Eastern Kentucky language and dialects in here. And so he went up in the backwoods, and he did boots on the ground kind of stuff. And he said there are dialects left up back there in these backwoods now. I about guess that's already died out because of television and now the internet, and everybody's on YouTube and listening to crap that we do. You're in another part of the country. Mogs has moved across the country. I'm pretty much been here in Southwest Virginia and Tennessee. But he said that the dialects back there were, they didn't have any interaction with anybody else. It was closer. The dialect was closer, and the sentence structure was closer to old world English, old Queen's English. Even though it sounded like, everybody says, well, that's a hick tongue or whatever. It was closer to old world English than anybody else in the United States at that time. This was when he did this study, was in the early 90s.
Well, I think even when you have the same clan or family group of Bigfoot anywhere, even they will use, and the Sierra Sounds is proof, they're not communicating in one form of language. They're practicing different sounds that they've picked up from different ways of communicating. The Sierra Sounds are howls, screams, samurai chatter, mumbling, popping sounds. I mean, there are so many things in there that you kind of wonder, is the samurai chatter something they picked up from somewhere? Is this a sound that they picked up from a different way to communicate? And they're capable of communicating with each other, not even really realizing that they're using sounds that they've adapted over hundreds of years, that they picked up from different Bigfoots that they found that came from a different area, and they learned to communicate something from, they don't even know where it originated from, But it's pretty obvious that when you hear an animal, pick any mammal, and you say, what are the sounds that it's outside of a human? What sounds is it capable of producing, right? And there's usually 2 or 3 distinct different sounds, but you start looking at all the different sounds that we've known on these recordings that Bigfoot can make. It's like, holy shit, man. They had to, it's just like we did. I lived down south and learned how to say y'all. And I moved back up here, and I'm hanging out with my friends. And I said, the first time I was back up here, I said to my friends, what are y'all doing tonight? And they're all laughing. And they're like, say it again. And I'm like, say what again? Say y'all. And I'm like, I didn't even know I said it.
Yeah.
You know.
Hey, howdy, or something like that. Yeah, that's I usually get the southern drawl way out there sometimes when I get kind of aggravated on the show if something's going wrong with something in the background or a frickin' switch I didn't hit or whatever goes wrong with it. But I've got a buddy of mine that I've talked to at length that lives in Northern Virginia on the West Virginia border. And he has extensive stories on Bigfoot and Dogman being on his property. And he lives up in the holler kind of stuff up through there. And he sent a text message to a group chat that we have with a bunch of people that some people will know Dark Waters and a few other people. And he said, I heard a bunch of growls in the last 2 nights I ain't heard in a year. And I was like, well, it's been a while. It's this time of year when, harvest season's happening. Everybody's either gathering up their vegetables or whatever. Maybe their, migratory patterns has switched to where these things are back in his backyard.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of wondering, have you noticed anything with these migratory patterns where, obviously you were talking about this, month-long experiment that you were doing with these Bigfoot out in the middle of nowhere down a river. Have you seen them? Have you seen any place else that they come and go, or just stay at the same spot for a lengthy period of time?
The place that I kayak into that I'm researching, I've been doing it since the first week in April. So, I mean, it's been going for going on 5 months, to where the whole plan was to go for 5 months if we could keep getting them to come back to that area. And as long as we continue to be part of the routine, we'd milk it out as long as we can before we throw the whole high-tech betrayal mode into there. But I think that there are migrations. I think that there are areas that doesn't make sense for them to be in from a habitual standpoint. When I hear of accounts in Iowa, okay, in Iowa, you're talking primarily farmland, some shelter belts, and the whole state is pretty much farmland, right? There's some river bottoms and things like that. But just south of Iowa is the Ozarks in Missouri. And just north of Iowa is the forests of Minnesota. I think that when you find them in these areas like Iowa, that you're finding them migrating from one to the other.
Place.
A food source dried up. They could handle winter in northern Minnesota, and then all of a sudden it was 40-mile-an-hour wind for a week straight, and the wind chills were 60 below zero, and they migrated. They took a week to travel down to the Ozarks in Missouri, and they'll stay there for a while, and who knows what happens. I mean, this is all speculation, but they go into an area that they don't normally habitate in, and there's another group there that doesn't want them there, so they spend a week or two there, and then they're just going back home again. I mean, one of the things we've really started looking at is displaced animals. In South Dakota, where I grew up, in the western part of the state is the Badlands, the Black Hills, Mount Rushmore. It's forests, it's canyons. And mountain lions are really thick out there in Wyoming and Montana, right? But we find mountain lions here in eastern South Dakota, young adults that get displaced. Now, look, if a mountain lion ran out of a group by an alpha male, I'll believe that it'll go 20, 30 miles away to find a new place to exist. I don't believe it'll travel 400 miles across farmland to exist. That doesn't make sense to me, right? And a lot of what I try to deal with from a research standpoint is when I look at stuff like, why is this happening? Or somebody says, this happened to me, or this is something that I noticed. I don't look at it and try to say, does it make sense? I'm trying to look at it and say, is there a reason why that couldn't be? because when you start looking at stuff as highly probable, possible, likely, not likely, and highly improbable. I mean, you start gauging these levels of research, of how you analyze data. I can't look at stuff and say, well, it's possible. Well, it's possible. Yeah, that makes sense. It's possible, because we just as well say they're dropped out of alien aircraft and they fart out orbs. I mean, it's possible, right?
Possible.
I mean, at some point we have to look at it and say that's not likely. Here's some reasons why it doesn't seem likely, right?
Possible, but not probable.
When we talk about why are mountain lions 400 miles away in the middle of farmland, right? And people say, well, they were ran out of that area. They were displaced. And now we come to find out that a lot of times these displaced animals, they'll tranquilize and radio collar them. But when they do an exam on them, they'll find out that they have an infected molar, that they have an abscessed tooth.
Right.
And the only way they can get that pounding out of their head for that week that they have that is to run full blast. Their blood gets going so fast that it stops hurting. And then when they stop, the pounding starts again. So they start running again. And then pretty soon they're disoriented. And they just keep running. Now that to me, that is, we had a mountain lion that was radio collared here in South Dakota about 14 years ago. And they were flying a plane over. They didn't move it back to the Black Hills. They left it here because they wanted to see, well, where will it go now that it's here, right? So they were flying a plane over it every morning and every afternoon, checking to see where its territory is, how far does it move in a day. And it was staying within a 25-mile area of this little river, the Big Sioux River, between Minnesota and South Dakota. And one morning they flew over and it's gone. I mean, it's not anywhere. They can't pick it up. And they flew over that afternoon and it was gone. And they flew over the next morning and it was gone. And they flew over the next afternoon. So over 48 hours, they couldn't find it. And they got a call from the DNR in Kansas. This mountain lion had been hit by a train on train tracks in Kansas. And these aren't train tracks that run from South Dakota to Kansas. So it didn't fall asleep on a boxcar and woke up in Kansas. They thought, why in the hell in 48 hours would this thing have ran 450 miles to Kansas? And they did an autopsy on it. And they realized that it had a whole row of infected molars. And that's the conclusion that they came to, that they don't have Tylenol that they can take. They run and the pain goes away. And as soon as they stop, it comes back. And I've had an infected molar before. And I'll tell you what, it is a pounding. You try to lay your head down at night. You can't do it. You're ready to get a pliers and pull your
and rip it out yourself. Yeah.
And so so we take antibiotics in 2 or 3 days. The pain goes away, and you finally get a good night's sleep. They don't have that shit. These animals, when they run full blast, their adrenaline gets going so much, the blood flows so much that it quits hurting, and the moment they stop, it starts pounding again. And once they've ran 20, 30 miles, they don't know where they're at anymore. They're disoriented. They just keep running. And that, to me, that theory makes so much more sense as to why a mountain lion would be 400 miles from its normal habitat than saying, well, it got ran off by an alpha male. Well, it would have went 10 miles away and set up camp somewhere else. It wouldn't have ran 400 miles.
All right. Well,
it's the same reason
that's
why
brand new theory to me. I like that.
We get moose that walk through a cornfield in Iowa and South Dakota that's 500 miles from the woods of northern Minnesota. Why would it be down here? So it got lost. So it's just going to keep walking in open ground in the middle of the day. Even if it was chased by predators where it was habitating originally, it wouldn't have been chased for 400 miles by predators. You know, they have a sense of north and south and how to get back to. Why do they end up down here? Well, that would make sense. That if it had an injury, that if it ran and then that injury subsided and then it stops and it comes back, some type of an infection, a blood infection or a tooth infection, that would make sense why it would cover 100 miles in a week, and over a month, all of a sudden it doesn't know where the hell it's at anymore. Than to say, well, it was chased by coyotes. Not for 400 miles, it wasn't. You know? I mean, so that's why I say from a research standpoint, you got to start looking at stuff and instead of always saying this is possible. It's possible it was chased by coyotes. It's possible that it got displaced by an alpha male and traveled all the way across an entire state. It's not likely. If you can show me another reason that seems more likely, now I have to subscribe to that theory. And that's kind of how I try to approach research. When somebody says, well, I'm having results with this, I'll say, well, yeah, I'll try that. That seems likely. But
yeah.
if somebody says, well, I can't explain this, but this is why I think this happened, I'll look at that and say, that doesn't seem likely, because there's other reasons that seem like it makes more sense, right?
All right. Well, you could be doing the same thing over and over again, and you get good results. It's the way I did in the sleep lab. You know, it's how I trained new sleep techs coming in. This is how I found over 10 years to apply this wire. You may find something different, and then go from there, and it works for you. So, you know, if it works for you, go for it.
The problem that we have now is when it comes to science, okay, science follows the money. So when you have funding and grants to study whatever the government wants you to study, it'll give you grants to do that. And whatever it doesn't want you to study, it will make sure there's no grants for that. So no real good scientist will ever chase that, right? And that's a real thing. I mean, that's why we aren't advancing this science.
But it's also you have people that are willing to do that now. You know.
Well, I think we've reached the point now, Mogs, where they know that, especially with the UFO disclosures that have came out in the last few months, I think they realize that they're looking at it from the same scale of, is it likely? Is it probable? Is it unlikely? And they're saying in the next 18 months to 2 years, it's probable that we could prove that this exists. We might end up with a body. We might end up with the government saying, okay, we're going to fess up and tell you what we know. Science does not want to be caught on the wrong side of the fence on something, right? So you're starting to see more scientists say, look, I'm willing to look at this. I'm willing to study this. We're willing to dedicate our labs to this. We're willing, and once 2 or 3 scientists do it, now all of a sudden 20 of them come on board and say, we're going to help you. Because the last thing they want is for a body to show up a year from now and be caught with their ass hanging out on the wrong side of the fence as the guy who was saying, bullshit, it can't be. They don't want to be discredited. So you're seeing more scientists kind of go from standing on the wrong side of the fence to at least straddling the middle to hedge their bets, so to speak.
Well, it's all about the money. I agree with you 100%. I used to, read medical studies, and I learned pretty damn quick to figure out who paid for this study.
Yeah.
What, and it's all about how you delineate and put together the numbers, ignore numbers. That was it. I have no doubt. Everybody says, hey, science says this. Okay, well, if you knew what science is, it's all about who's paying for this damn shit. And what they want to get out of it and what they want to suppress. If you got something that's brand new that does the same job 1,000 times better, but the guy that owns the patents to the stuff that's making the money wants to suppress you, guess what? You ain't going nowhere.
Well, there's so many things. I mean, Honda came out with an engine, literally. I think it was 31 years ago.
Yeah,
they came out with an engine that would run on water.
Oh, yeah, my dad used to talk about that.
Honda came out with an engine that you could put water in and the damn thing would run.
Yep.
And because of the effect it would have on the fuel industry, the oil industry, even convenience stores, Look at how many Americans make their living working at a freaking convenience store, right? These people are displaced if you let this technology come out. So you have scientists that discover something so innovative. Think about what it would have done to free us from oil if that
And it's
technology
hushed
had been
up.
discovered.
Yep.
And
Free
it's
energy.
just
all the time.
scuffled down because, and there's different motives for it. I look at the UFO thing. I'll tell you what, I think we're kind of to a point now with different religions. I'm a Christian. I know a lot of people are Christians that say, look, UFOs can be real. There's nothing in the Bible that tells me God didn't create something else.
Ezekiel's
He
will.
tells me
right
what
there.
he created here, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the idea 30 years ago existed that if we were to say that aliens are real and the government had proof and they said Roswell was real, here's the bodies that we found, here's all the shit, and they disclosed everything, that a lot of people theorized that modern Christianity and modern religion would have crumbled at that point. And without a faith-based system intact, that society would move into a chaotic type of existence. And for that main reason, that was the reason why they supposedly wouldn't have released information that everybody kind of knew that they had. I mean, look, they've got these hangars. They got these hangars out there in the desert that they've protected with their lives for decades. It's like, you can't tell me it was bullshit. Why won't you let anybody go there, you know?
Oh yeah. Well, you got it to where it's right there in front of your face, and you made it to a point where you said, well, we made it plausibly a mythical event that happened over in Roswell, you know. And then we put all this stuff in place, as you just said, all these guarded shacks, and you can't even step on. Oh, you left.
I didn't do anything.
That's all right. But yeah, I agree with Jeff, and I'd love to have Jeff on my show just to, you know,
oh yeah,
share that little study he's trying to do, that experiment. That would be.
He popped out backstage, but I'm going to bring him back up. But guys, we're already 2 hours and 40 minutes into this.
Yep. I'm at 973 Mogs, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, I won't hang you up anymore, Mogs. Yeah. I don't know why this happens every time on your show. After so long, my iPad screen goes white, and we're gone, and then it reboots and it comes back. I don't know what's doing it, but UFO.
Yeah, I was just saying we're 40 minutes over.
Yeah. I definitely didn't intend to bring it that direction.
No, dude, no, it's fascinating. I just sit there and listen. I just like listen. That's all I do is listen, because some things I just have no reason to speak on, like because I don't know enough to speak on it.
If I was going to pop on your show, and it's me, you, and Sean on here, I mean, there's an opportunity with 3 people to talk about some of this stuff. If I ever pop on your show and you got 6 guests, I'm not going to bring up something like this, because I know it's a rabbit hole that we're going to spend an hour talking about, you know.
Oh, man, come on my show. We'll talk about it as long as you want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Not 5 hours, though. I've done a couple of 5-hour shows, and it's kicked my ass for 3 days. But
I think I did one 5-hour show.
Oh yeah, how'd you feel after that?
Oh, it was New Year's Eve. I rang in every time zone.
Oh, really?
That's cool. That's cool. You need to do that again.
Ringing every time. I don't know. I might do 1,000 subscriber tomorrow, a short one, and
hopefully we can get you there. What are your
973 right now?
22 away.
Yeah, I may wake up, might be there. I may wake up and it'd be back down to early teens, 19 something.
It'll get to 999 and then 990. Shit.
Yeah.
So close.
I watched that shit happen.
Yeah. Well, you look at that and it's like when watching a bank account and you're like, oh, okay. You know, that's going to be minus here in just a second, and all of a sudden your paycheck hits. And then it goes away.
But yeah, guys, I want to thank you guys for coming on tonight.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Well, Jeff, I would love to have you on my show.
I'd love to be on your show.
Yeah,
I'd love to do that. I don't say, I'm not going to say there's nobody on YouTube that I would say no to the show to, because there definitely are. I compile a little list and keep it in the drawer. But, the funnest shows to me to be on, and I say this, with Moggs and like Joe up in New York with Western New York Bigfoot, to me, you can tell by the live chats, the people and the conversations going on in the live chats are people who maybe they're not researchers, but they have an intelligent interest. The dialogue that goes on in these chats is really on point. I almost have as much fun just sitting in the chat watching the chat. I kind of get distracted by that because there's really good conversations that go on. And yet you'll go on some of these channels that have 30,000 subscribers and it's a freaking 8-ring circus. I mean, I don't know that. I always try to think I like to have conversations with people that will help advance the science, right? If I'm going to share what I've experienced, I hope people will use something they've learned to advance the science. And I want to read conversations in chat that'll give me ideas to advance the science. I don't find that on channels with 30-some thousand people a lot of times. They're built for entertainment. The shock value, the spectacular stories, the Hollywoodization of things. Half of it's really good information and half of it's bullshit. And they don't mind that half of it's bullshit because it gets people to watch.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not attracted to that. And that's why I find a lot of value in these shows that have 500 subscribers, 1,000 subscribers, To me, it's just a funner place to exist and share information.
Absolutely, because you can exist.
Yeah.
If you're in a chat with 30,000, on a channel that has 30,000, that chat's.
Oh yeah, you'll have 800 people in chat, and you got people in there talking.
Well, you don't
about...
see that's you don't get that many. I mean, like I'm looking at, it says 51.
Yeah,
it's 51 watching. There's maybe.
Even Bigfoot Odyssey. Bigfoot Odyssey will have 350 people in chat sometimes.
They're not in chat, dude. It's watching.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Carrie throws it out. Oh yeah, I've got 350 in chat and thousands watching. No, you've got 350 watching. That's it.
Yeah.
And then you go and you can count the people in chat.
But I mean, I'm watching the chat and I've got 3 people having a dialogue that I'm trying to really follow what they're talking about. And in between it, there's 15 posts in between each one of those talking about how the dog just shit on the living room carpet, and I'm getting ready to eat a chicken taco, and I don't...
Bacon.
But there are some intelligent, educated people that follow these my channel. And they're just, it's an amazing group, and it's good that you can. It's more intimate. You can
if you're here in a chat, it's because you're thinking. We might not agree on the same thing. We might not share the same subscriptions or the same theories.
But as long as you're thinking.
But as long as you're thinking and you're putting some intelligent thought into something you want to say, that to me, I'm interested in reading all of people's opinions, even if they're different from mine. I've got to purge mine against something. Otherwise, mine are hearsay. My own intellectual stuff, if I never take into account what other people will say they've experienced, I'm existing in a pretty narrow corridor when it comes to science,
Oh, yeah. Well, come on my show and we'll have unscreened
I'd
open
love
lines. And, get people to call in and say, hey, Jeff, I like what you're doing, or hey, Jeff, you're full of whatever.
Yeah, you know what? It wouldn't be the first time.
It wouldn't be the first time that Sean told somebody he was full of whatever.
Well, and that's the thing is, because one of the reasons you asked me why did I wait so long before I started sharing my encounter or doing research, things like that. Listen, I felt like I had so much to lose. I've reached a point now where I share my encounter openly. I share my research results openly. And if somebody doesn't want to believe them, I'm okay with that. I don't feel I have some burden to make you a believer. I could give a shit if you believe or not.
Sure.
I'll share what I know. I've shared what I experienced. And if that helps you cross that bridge of your own journey to saying, You know what? I think I believe that now. That's great, but I don't feel some burden to get you there. That's on you.
Sure.
That's not on me. So when people disagree with something, that doesn't bother me anymore.
Well, good night, folks.
Yeah.
Yeah. On that note.
All right. Thanks, Moggs, for doing this little, whatever you want to call a gift or a favor. Yeah, it was
help you out,
crazy.
man.
I appreciate it. It was like, whoa, what's going on here? But I appreciate it. Thank you for.
So did they post the link to your channel in the chat tonight, Moggs?
Yes.
Okay. So when I rewatch it, I just want to know, because I want to be able to click and copy paste that. I'm going to pop it into a couple different spots that I interact with different researchers. Shit, I might be able to just get 20 people over there tomorrow morning and while they're having coffee and subscribe. I'll try. But
Well, you never know. I've had all kinds of incredible callers here lately. You know, from people that had possible alien abductions within 23 hours of calling my show. And you're like, holy cow. You know?
Yeah. It's like, where did you hear about me?
Yeah.
How did you find your way here?
Yeah, like that guy Alman. I was like, how in the world? Why in the world did you pick my show to call in? You know, kind of stuff.
That's where the UFO dropped him off, right at your doorstep.
Yeah, right there. So, yeah, we'll have it in depth. Thanks, Moggs. Thanks, folks, for subscribing if you did.
My pleasure, Sean. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, brother. Take care.
Take care. And Jeff, well, he just bounced off. Whoa. Almost 3 hours, guys. Wow. Thank you guys for coming out tonight. Everybody that popped in, and I apologize to the guys who came in earlier, Patrick, and just have issues. Buzzard. Nothing I can do about that. And I do appreciate you, attempting to come on. We'll get together in the future. Hopefully, we'll get you on. Thanks to everybody. My mods. You guys rock. Everybody, you guys make this show. And thank you for doing that so much. I'm having fun. Good night, Leslie. I looked for you. I thought you left already. Thanks, Duke. All right, guys. Well, I gotta get I don't know if you guys noticed, I was fidgeting this whole time because my hand is, like I said, it's swollen as hell and it's itchy. So, sorry I bored you, Leslie. She says I fell asleep. I'm kidding. Thanks, Kelly. All right, guys. If you enjoyed the show, hit that like button. Apparently, you guys have been on top of that like button tonight. I saw Real posted 70 out of 70 at one point. Wow. Awesome. Check out Sean's channel, Chasing the Truth. If you didn't subscribe, run over there and do that. Also, Cryptus Canada is here in chat. Check out Leslie's channel. Subscribe to that. Amazing channels that, are showing up, that are joining us, that I'm just honored to, I call you guys my friends and promote each other, that's what it's about. So, all right, guys. Oh, and I might as well put it out there, but if anybody's interested in donating to the channel, on my banner, there is a PayPal link. You can't see it though. It's all the way in the right-hand corner. Plus there's in the description, there's a link for PayPal. It's up to you guys. I'm just putting it out there. Anyway, you guys have an amazing night. Thank you again, or morning. Damn, it's late. And we'll talk to you soon. Peace and